Hello.
There
How are you?
Okay.
Can you hear?
I can hear you.
Oh, thank God.
I was a little worried.
Radio shows hit a snag if you can't hear each other.
Yeah, that's a little tough.
Yeah,
You didn't
and
have
if
your
you can't hear
headphones
the
on,
guests,
so I didn't know
I don't.
if I was even going out over the air.
I'll throw them on.
So we appreciate that.
We're fine.
You know what? I tried to contact again yesterday and this morning. The radio station, what was it, about a year ago, where they found out like a day after it happened that somebody had stolen their antenna or their tower with their broadcast tower. Remember that? It just seemed like a fascinating story. I wasn't calling to make fun of them, but I'm like, we'd love to hear the backstory on that if they ever figured out who, in fact, stole the tower of a radio station. I don't even remember where that radio station was. I don't know if you recall. I don't know what you're doing over there, Nick. He's running wires. He's doing this. He's pushing wires, all kind of stuff. Boy, if I didn't have my headset ready to go before I went on the air, man, I'd never hear the end of it. But Nick's
here.
tougher on me than I am on him.
We're live.
Where was that station, by the way?
Fill out the plug. Texas, right?
Was it Texas? Somebody stole
One of those states.
If you don't remember that story, there was a radio station that I guess somebody was out cutting the grass around their broadcast tower, which was not where the radio station is, like WMBS. Our station's not adjacent to the tower. And somebody called and said, the tower's not here. Now, still, I don't care if your tower is 40 feet tall.
Right.
That's ours is what?
Oh, my God.
It's
something like that.
It's pretty tall. How somebody could steal the tower and then nobody noticed for a day?
That's pretty bad.
Like, was no one listening?
No, apparently not.
Did they not have it playing? We have radios around here.
Absolutely. If there's 5 seconds of dead air, I mean, we hear it. Exactly. We hear Brian's footsteps. And
I've been on radio shows where if there's, I think it's 7 seconds of dead air, alarms go off in the station.
Like it's a hospital.
Yeah.
Like a patient's escaping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a light bulb here in the studio that goes on if suddenly we're off the air.
Right, but sometimes that's off, so we don't know if we're off.
One day I said, how long's that been there? And I checked it and it was burnt out. I thought it was sort of funny.
We'd been off the air for 3 days, but no, we had calls. Yeah. Now, that's very bizarre, and I'm sure they don't want to come on because it seems like we're making fun, which we kind of are.
I told them, I am. We're not here to make fun of you. It's just such an incredible story.
Right.
That we'd love to hear the backstory if they ever found out who, in fact, stole the tower.
Well, I'm sure some small media outlets gobbled them up first, like CNN, ABC. But what do they know? Yeah, I don't know. I would go on and talk about it. It's funny. You're right.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those truly bizarre stories. Been following the Olympics, of course. And last night, or this morning, rather, I was watching. It was live because it was early in the morning. And the two-man luge.
Right.
Now, again,
two-man.
If I'm on a sled, and I've gone sledding, of course, when I was a kid, I still toboggan once in a while just for fun. And I'm guessing, how fast am I going down the hill? 20 miles an hour?
Yeah.
At most.
And that's scary.
That's scary. If I drive 75 miles per hour, I'm not so, I get a little concerned at times. I'm flying down the highway. There's two-man luge going 73.4 miles an hour. Is
amazing.
What I saw today.
Amazing. And the skiers are going 90 downhill.
Well, that's straight.
That's just ridiculous.
That straight downhill thing.
Yeah,
they hit speeds like that.
Horrifying.
60 miles per hour going like in turns down the hill.
And who decides that's what they want to do? I mean, I want to make the Olympics, Mom and Dad. What sport? Luge. Well, I'm going to lay on a board with another man on me.
If you start your kid at luge at age 5, he's going to be in the Olympics.
Oh, exactly.
There's only like 12 of them.
Exactly. Someone has made that argument about the Olympics, specifically the Winter Games. Some of the sports are so obscure that if you start training at an early age, even if you're average, you're going to make it because you're just practicing more than some people. Most people in the world haven't even heard of these sports, and you're training at it every day. Right, you clearly have an advantage over someone trying, I don't know, baseball, basketball, hockey, football, soccer, sports people have heard of. Yeah. No offense to luge, which only comes up once every 4 years.
Cross-country skiing and shooting.
Right.
How did this come up?
Who knows?
That would
somebody
be
had to be drunk.
Let's come up with this one. And they're remarkable marksmen and markswomen. Is there such a thing as a markswoman?
I guess.
I don't know.
Who knows? I'm sure women do it.
It's. Oh, I know there's women, but do they call if a woman shoots well? Does she have good markswomanship?
I would imagine.
I guess
we have congresswomen, which I'm against. Kidding.
Speaking of congresswomen, we're going to have a former congresswoman on today. It's an interesting case. It's been under the radar. After the governor's house was attacked, they call it the governor's mansion in Harrisburg, where the current governor Shapiro lives, really just part time because he has a home in Montgomery County. Well, they decided to do multi-million-dollar upgrades for security purposes at his home in Montgomery County. Well, there's been an ongoing legal dispute between him and one of his neighbors, a land dispute between a sitting governor and his actual neighbor at his private home in Montgomery County. I shared this information with a couple of lawyers, including our good friend Bruce Ankowiak at St. Vincent's College. He's not able to join us to talk about it, but he says that's one of the stranger cases I've heard in quite some time. So Melissa Hart, who was a state senator and then a congresswoman and is now has been for years a practicing attorney, we're going to get her take on this. It's a very strange thing. First off, if I'm a governor in a state like Pennsylvania, and the world knows that he wants to run for president in a couple of years, I'd probably try to settle a land dispute with my next door neighbor and not
I would think.
let it go this long. It's going to be going for 6 months. It just seems like a very strange.
It is something out of a sitcom, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like you put your fence too close to my property, and I'm not letting you on my property to paint the fence because you'll be standing on my property to paint. Another reason not to put fences between yards.
And that'll definitely come up when he runs for president. But I mean, compared to some of the other things presidential candidates have done,
it's just a strange thing. So we'll get Melissa Hart. I actually called some other attorneys. I won't name them who they are, and they said, that's pretty politically sensitive. They were law professors. I won't say from where. It doesn't matter. And they said that's pretty sensitive. I'm not going to discuss that one.
Wow.
So. It just seems so. We're going to talk to Melissa Hart, but before that, I promised 2 weeks ago when we were doing an interview with the organization, the Trade Association for Nursing Homes, Long-Term Care Facilities, and talked about legislation to address these issues, including if you're working at a nursing home in high school, you could get credits to what you're doing there because they are so desperate to get workers, not just nurses or nurse practitioners or nurse aides, but literally anybody that works in a long-term care facility, maintenance people, food service, dietitians, you name it. So State Senator Dave Argel has introduced legislation, one just passed unanimously in the Senate, to address these issues. So we're going to talk to him at 5:35 to get his take on this issue. I come from a family of nurses. My mother-in-law, my former wife, and my daughter are all nurses. One's retired, one's getting close to retirement. They talk all the time about the nurse shortage issue. So we're going to check in with Senator Argel, get his take on that issue. And then Loman Henry, who you hear here twice a week on WMBS, on the Lincoln Radio Journal and American Radio Journal, will get his take at 7:15, 7:20 on the latest out of Harrisburg, the governor's race. A lot more organized governor's race this time around. Last time there were at one point 13 candidates running for governor.
They couldn't find podiums, is that right?
That was the classic story. Chris Nicholas, who we have on the show about once a month every month and a half, was putting together a debate among the Republican candidates running in the Republican primary for governor 4 years ago in 2022. They were doing it at a university. They had trouble finding matching podiums. That many podiums for that debate. And this time around, there seems to be just one candidate. She's been endorsed last fall by the Republican State Committee. And that, of course, is who's been a regular guest here on the show over the years, Stacey Garrity, the state treasurer. I've, over the years, tried to get Governor Shapiro on as a guest, the lieutenant governor on as a guest. No luck. I do the invitations, and they're not available to do those interviews. But we'll keep trying because we like to get folks from both sides of the aisle. So we're going to talk to Loman about the amount of legislation or lack of legislation being passed in Harrisburg. It's a lot of gridlock at times. The House is controlled by Democrats by one vote. The Senate's been in Republican hands for decades, except for a couple of years, many years ago. And, of course, Governor Shapiro is Democrat. So that does not lead for smooth running sometimes when it comes to passing legislation or, for that matter, getting a budget done. And, of course, the deadline for the budget every year is June 30th, and they've not hit it very well over the last couple of years. My gosh, the governor's presentation of his budget for fiscal year 2026-2027 was presented a couple of weeks ago, just 3 months after the current budget was passed, which was many months late. So, yeah, it's a tough. So Loman Henry's going to chat it up with that one. We'll be talking to him. And then, the economic impact of the Olympics and the impact it has on NBC. Of course, they shut down their standard programming, both daytime and evening programming. And all through the night, there's repeats of of what shows. It's also on Peacock, which is the streaming network owned by NBC and Comcast.
And shutting down NBC's normal programming is probably a good thing because I've seen some of it in recent years, and wow.
Yeah, it's not the must-see TV it used to be.
No.
And, of course, the impact it has on local affiliates. Does it help? Does it hurt? So we're going to talk who better. Rob Owen, TV critic and writer for the Tribune Review, TribeLive.com. We'll talk to him at 7:30. Again, we're with you till 8 o'clock tonight, an extra hour. So we'll do the late edition of the afternoon drive show. No sports tonight, but we do have high school sports tomorrow night. Playoffs.
That's right.
What do they call it? The initial round? What do
Preliminary.
They call it? Preliminary round.
Initial round's good. Preliminary is more formal. It's a longer word. People use longer words to sound more important.
More important.
That's right. Yeah. Like weather event.
That's right. There was a national report I heard. Somebody what was the term? I was thinking, oh, Nick would love that term. They were talking about the facilitation of something. How about just do something?
Yeah, well, that'd be too simple.
That works out just fine as well. Where was I going with all this? I forget what we were chatting about there for a second. But CBS News Brief coming up here in about 30 seconds. We'll have a break, and then we're going to check in, as I mentioned, with Pennsylvania State Senator Dave Argel. We'll talk to him about the legislation he's introduced to address the ongoing issue of the problems long-term care facilities have hiring staff on all levels, not just nurses, but throughout those facilities. And it's been a real issue. So we're going to take a break. CBS News Brief coming up here in just about 10 seconds. Then we have a few commercials. We'll come back. We'll check in with Senator Argel. We'll talk to him about that. You're listening to the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. 36 degrees right now.
CBS News Brief. The FBI says they're getting a lot of tips after releasing footage from the porch of missing Nancy Guthrie. CBS's Andreas Gutierrez is in Tucson.
More than 4,000 of those calls came yesterday, shortly after those images and video of the suspect showing up to her front door showed up.
Attorney General Pam Bondi getting grilled by lawmakers at a hearing on Capitol Hill. Maryland Democrat Jamie Raskin accused her of failing to protect victims when releasing the Epstein files.
Abandoning victims and coddling perpetrators is what you do best.
And actor James Vanderbeek has died after a battle with cancer. He was best known for playing Dawson Leary on Dawson's Creek.
We're friends, okay? No matter how much body hair we acquire. Deal?
Deal.
Vanderbeek was 48 years old. CBS News Brief. I'm Stacey Lynn.
This is attorney Michael Mays of the Davis & Davis Law Firm. We have been helping injured people just like you recover millions of dollars for over 45 years. If you're hurt or injured, I want to meet you and make sure you get the money that you deserve. Call me at 724-437-2799 for your free consultation. The Davis & Davis Law Firm has been protecting our neighbors in Greene and Fayette counties for over 45 years. Go to davisanddavislaw.com or call 724-437-2799 for your free consultation.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Well, much cooler temperatures are here, but you could still enjoy your deck or patio with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturer and customer guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Call Lifetime Awnings, 724-554-6067 for a no-cost or obligation home consultation. Or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
Bad hair day? Bad day at the office? Bad day behind the wheel? Hey, stuff happens, even to the best of us. At least your car insurance rate doesn't have to take a hit. Get Erie Rate Lock from Erie Insurance. Gives you a great rate that stays put until you change a car, driver, or your address. Plus, seriously good service. Now that's something to smile about.
Your Erie agent in Uniontown and Ross Traver Township is Sprowls Insurance Group, 724-437-9812, or go to sprowlsinsurance.com.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Bring us out of the break there. Don't Fear the Reaper, that great song. Of course, it was part of that skit on Saturday Night Live where, was it Liam Neeson wanted more cowbell? Christopher Walken.
Yeah, so
sorry.
Will Ferrell, Jimmy
wanted
Fallon.
more of cowbell.
Yeah,
That's one of those great Saturday Night Live skits from days gone by. This just out of the news here. I was reading a story here, actually from USA Today. Congressman Neil Dunn, who's out of Florida, Republican congressman, is rumored to be stepping down early. That would lower the control of the U.S. House for Republicans down to 217 to 214. It hasn't been that closely divided since 1930. Yeah, you can't. That means someone's plane can't be late getting into D.C. for a vote. Someone can't have the flu. That is a thin margin. 217 to 214. Of course, in Pennsylvania, the state house is 102 to 101. Even closer. But that's that would be another hit to the Republican majority in the U.S. House. Wait and see what happens on that. A couple weeks ago, when we were talking with a representative of the Nursing Home Association, talking about the ongoing issue of long-term care facilities and staffing, as I've said before, I come from a family of nurses. I once served on the board of directors of a nonprofit nursing home, a faith-based nursing home. That was, 25 years ago, and it was an ongoing issue. It came up at every board meeting. We need to hire people. And it's hard, not just nurses or nurse assistants, but dietitians and food service people, maintenance people, housekeeping, you name it. It's been an issue for a long, long time. One person who's really, focused on this very closely is our next guest. And joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line, Pennsylvania State Senator Dave Argel. Senator, thank you very much for joining us today. First time you've been on our afternoon drive show here. We appreciate it. How are you today, sir?
Good. Thanks for the invitation.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, the issue of hiring, and it was an issue. It's been an issue for a long time. As the nurses in my family say, it's not for everybody to be in healthcare, no matter what the level might be. It's really a vocation in many cases. Even if you're doing maintenance in a nursing home, you're dealing with certain things, or if you're food service or what have you. It's not for everybody, so it's tough to recruit, tough to keep staff, and that really became really acute, did it not, during pandemic, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we are looking at some serious shortages. I think we lost 14% of the staff in these important facilities between 2019 and 2022.
Yeah. The previous governor at one point, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Wolf at one point wanted to increase the number of staff required to allow a unit to work, a nursing home unit, a floor to work, which the goal was, okay, there'll be more people there to help the people in those facilities, but at the same time, it would have and did at times say, well, we got to shut the unit down. We don't have enough staff. It was a problem forced on facilities that made matters worse, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The closest facility to me, I represent Schuylkill County, Carbon County, Hazleton, and so just outside of Tamaqua, there's a facility. They took good care of my dad and my grandmother, and I noticed one day parking lot was half empty. And I thought, what's going on? And that's exactly what had happened. They didn't have enough staff, and so they had to close down a wing. And then that really, of course, reverberates. It's a problem for the hospitals because then they have to keep patients longer. And it's a big problem, and it's one we just have to find a solution to.
Yeah, it sounds nice to say, okay, they have to hire more people. Okay, that's fine. How do we hire those people? Where are they? Yeah. People aren't lining up. People say, oh, I got a stack of resumes on my desk. I don't think there's many nursing homes where the HR department has stacks of resumes sitting on their desk. And just because somebody submits a resume, obviously they go through background checks. You want to make sure you hire the right people. And that would be an issue in your 29th district, Schuylkill, Carbon, parts of Luzerne counties. But it's also in the 64 other counties in Pennsylvania where it's an ongoing issue. And Pennsylvania is known, of course, for its older population, which I guess is good and bad at times. People like to stay here; they want to retire here and move and stay here in their later years. But then that increases the need for these long-term care facilities. And when we talk about those, Senator, it's not just what you think of as a nursing home. It really is over the sort of a longer care issue from independent through full medical care, right? So it's a continuum of care, I guess, is one way to consider it, right?
Well, absolutely. And again, between now and 2040, we're going to double the number of people living in Pennsylvania over age 65. The state is getting older, and we're all getting older, I guess. And so, yeah, it's an issue today, and it's going to get worse unless we pass these bills that I've been working on now for the better part of a year.
Yeah. The one I wanted to focus on, it's very unique. And again, I have a daughter who's a nurse, another one, two teachers. I have a daughter who's finishing her senior year, and she'll be going into speech therapy is her plan for her career. And it's the one piece of legislation that just passed the Senate, passed unanimously. That doesn't happen a whole lot unless you're passing Mother's Day resolutions and things like that. This idea that high school students who are working part-time in a long-term care facility could get credit for that. How does that work? Tell us about that piece of legislation, if you would.
It's Senate Bill 116, and it would allow high school juniors and seniors to earn graduation credit by either working or volunteering in a licensed care setting. And so, as you'd indicated, it's not for everybody, but some people might say, hey, this is a good way of helping me to pay for nursing school or going on to college or community college. And my wife tried, nursing as a volunteer, decided to become an accountant. It's not for everybody, but we do think it would be at least one step in the right direction. And so, as you'd indicated, the Senate has passed it unanimously, and I'm hopeful to get the House to do the same and send it on to the governor.
Yeah, I encouraged my daughters over the years when they were considering what did they want to do, what they want to do in college. I said, let's set up an opportunity for you to shadow somebody. And we have connection people we know, different professions, and they like to have kids come in and follow them for a day. You can do some of that in some cases. I know my daughter, who's a surgical trauma nurse, and at age 16, gowned up and stood in and watched an open heart surgery case. And we knew from that moment on, yeah, she can be a nurse. Not too many 16-year-olds can watch somebody get their chest cut open in an operating room.
And I couldn't have done that.
Yeah,
wow.
Well, I could have done it until I hit the floor after I passed out, I think. Yeah, that. Yeah, but she took after her mom in that case. But I think that there's an opportunity for kids like this that work in a nursing home. They might find, okay, this is what I want to do. Or, Mom and Dad, this isn't what I want to do. Because that happens sometimes. People get into a profession and like, whoa, I wasn't ready for this. And I think that's why it's important. And to be able to shadow somebody in a nursing home and be paid for it as a part-time job in high school. I think I sold shoes in high school, so that was my level of shadowing, I think, at a shoe store years ago. But yeah, that's sort of an interesting. How did that come up? I'm guessing it was brought to your attention.
We sat down with people that work in these facilities, that the staff and the managers, and said, what do we need to do? And so, that's where these ideas came from. They all passed, all three of them passed by, pretty significant bipartisan margins, because I think they just make sense.
Yeah. Now, that was part of what would be called like a three-bill package, I guess, sort of a trifecta, your effort. Yes. Tell us about, and some of those other bills have passed previously. Of course, the legislative session is 2 years. We're in the second year of the 2-year legislative session. Tell us about the other two bills that are part of your effort on this.
The other two cut down on some of the bureaucracy, make it a little bit easier for nurses' aide to take the competency exam. Another one would say, look, if you don't have a high school diploma or a GED, and you're looking to go into possibly work in one of these facilities to get your employee certification, it's similar to the way the U.S. Navy does it. And so, again, it's just kind of common sense, non-controversial way to try to get more people to consider this as a part-time or a full-time job, maybe only for a couple of years, maybe for a lifetime. But we have to do something so that these wings that are now closed can open up again and take care of, mom, dad, and grandma.
Trying to cut back on government bureaucracy, that must be like trying to hold back the ocean with a broom at times, I guess, when you think about...
I'm never going to tell you it's easy, but it does make sense.
Yeah, I remember testifying years ago before the Senate Policy Committee, which you, of course, chair, and was talking about government efficiency, and I was lobbying for the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce at the time. We were testifying before it. And of course, those jokes went on about government efficiency and that sort of thing. But it can happen at times. And of course, when you go through the right type of legislation, you are chair of the policy committee. Many, many years ago, I worked for Senator Mike Fisher when he was chairman of the Senate Policy Committee. And the issues we tried to work through on top of that. While he was also chairing another committee too, things were a little different back then. So tell us about, if you don't mind, tell us about the policy committee that you chair. You're part of the leadership team in the Senate majority.
Yeah,
of course.
we're the advanced scouts, looking at. I'm going to be out with your senator, with Senator Stefano next week, looking at some housing issues. Senator Bartolotta has me coming into her district on Tuesday on some health-related issues for kids with allergies. And so if we do our job well with the policy committee, we identify the issue, we develop the bill, we turn it over to the standing committee, and if we've done our job well, it makes it a lot easier then to get the bill done in terms of the Senate and the House.
Yeah, the policy committee is I don't know how to describe it. It's not your standard committee that's, of course, in the Senate, which has Republicans and Democrats on it. The Democrats also have a policy committee as well. So, yeah, when I worked for Senator Mike Fisher years ago, at times you're saying, okay, we don't know where to send this. Let's have the policy committee look into it. And they worked with the policy staff, of course. And it was sort of interesting at times where these things came about. I know at one point there was an issue out here about storage tanks. We had the issue of a storage tank collapsing right on the Mon River. It caused problems in the river. And legislation came out of that when we found out about how storage tanks were being regulated by, in fact, of all things, the local fire marshals were in charge of inspecting them. And we decided maybe there's a better way to do that without putting too much burdensome, but keeping the region safe. So, yeah, the policy committees have always been misunderstood, I think, at times. But I think they serve an important role. So what's the latest on these three bills that you've put in? They've moved in the Senate. It passed unanimously in the Senate just recently,
yes.
116.
And
the other two
they're
bills?
all awaiting votes in their respective House committees. And again, we haven't identified any opposition. And so we're hopeful. We have until November 30th to get them through before the legislature turns into a pumpkin. And so I'm hoping that we can get these through the House and onto the governor's desk. Yeah,
sine die, as they call it, midnight on November 30th. There was a time when, my gosh, there'd be legislation literally within minutes of passing. And let's get it to the governor's desk. And hopefully that will be the case on this one as we talk with Pennsylvania State Senator Dave Argel on an issue that anybody who has family members looking at some point going into a long-term care facility, no matter what the level, this should be of interest to them. If folks want to get more information on some of this stuff, where should they go? Give us your website if you don't mind.
It's senatorargel.com, ARGALL.
That's easy enough. Senator Argel, thank you very much. As a former staffer, I always want to thank the staff on your staff for putting this interview together. So I want to thank Seth for helping out. Once a staffer, always a staffer. And
I get it. And I did it myself. I get it.
That's right. So I want to thank you for joining us today, sir. Thank you very much. I know you got a busy schedule, so we'll keep we'll move on from this one, and we appreciate it. We'll be back in touch. We'd like to hear more of what's going on with the policy committee. That's for sure. And I noticed that you're a Penn Stater. I'm a Penn Stater too, class of '85. So that's another good reason to have you on. So
There you go.
Appreciate
Anytime.
it. Yeah, we are.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Nick, are you saying I'm too corny over there?
Not at all, Doug. Not at all. I love you. You're so passionate about this stuff, and the way you wrapped up that interview, that's so Saltzman. We need a tagline. That's so Saltzman.
We are Penn State.
We are. That's it. We are.
He served as a part-time policy instructor for more than 30 years at Lycoming College, Penn State, and at Lehigh Carbon College. Maybe he wasn't a Penn Stater. I've misread that. Oh, no, he was. Got his PhD public administration from Penn State.
He went with it. PhD is a doctor.
That's right. Yeah.
Doctor and a senator. Wow. And he talked to two schmucks like us.
That's right.
Well, he talked to you. I just
His
sat in on
studies
it.
included an Eisenhower Fellowship to review the economic and political transformation in Germany after the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Oh, my gosh. Were you there when the wall fell,
No,
89?
and that's one of those things when I look back on it.
You weren't at Woodstock. You didn't go to the Berlin Wall falling. What did you do in your youth?
I was 6 at Woodstock.
Still should have gone. You
Yeah.
were alive. Were you 6 at Woodstock? Wow. Not as old as I thought.
1969.
All right.
When I look back at it, like, why didn't we just hop on a plane and go over there and chop off a piece of the wall?
Exactly. Bring it home. No one would have believed you.
Right,
They thought it was like
Yeah,
a brick from a McDonald's.
Yeah, I could have picked it up in the parking lot.
Exactly. It's the Berlin Wall, Mom. I'm telling you.
Yeah, what would that have been?
1989, right?
89? Is that? Yeah, it
Yeah.
was during
I mean, it was in all the papers.
the first Bush. It was
Peter
first,
Jennings and Brokaw told me about it.
the first Bush administration.
That's right.
The first, the elder Bush, I guess.
Yes.
Put it.
Mr. Gorbachev. Well, that was Reagan.
That was
we all
Reagan.
know that
Tear
line.
down this wall.
And that was the money shot, though. That's not really what did it. I mean, that was a great photo op.
But it was a lot of people say that the combination of Ronald Reagan and how he increased the size of the defense budget to stand up to the Soviet Union, and Pope John Paul II at the same time saying, "That's it, boys. Let's end this."
Right.
He went up against that. The president of Poland at the time was a stooge for the Soviets.
Wow,
and
a stooge.
And just said,
Lesser, right?
"You've got to give these people freedom." And the guy stood there just with his jaw. What are you going to do? Argue with the Pope in front of the media?
Can't argue with the Pope.
And of course,
that's a losing battle.
The Pope grew up in Poland. Pope John Paul II.
He was a great one. My favorite Pope. Now we have an American Pope. He's not coming to America this year. He just announced. What a shame. But he'll come to Chicago at least.
That's right. I think I told that story. How I thought I met the Pope.
Well, like at the Walgreens? Had he just bum into the Pope?
Well, no. Before he was Pope.
Oh, I see. I was going to say.
I got
thought
so
you meant
excited.
like John Paul back in the day.
Yeah, no. I did once use the same toilet as John Paul II.
Of course you did.
I'll explain that one coming up. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the better business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
One of the most incredible architectural masterpieces in the United States is right here in Fayette County. Don't miss your chance to tour Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, a world-famous work of architecture that's included on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Falling Water invites you to Fayette County Appreciation Day on Sunday, March 22nd, as they offer free tours for all Fayette County residents. Book your free tour of Falling Water in advance by calling 724-329-8501. Tours will take place between 9:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Sunday, March 22nd. Be sure to make your reservation in advance and don't miss your chance to tour Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, a world-famous work of architecture located right here in Fayette County. Call 724-329-8501 and book your free tour today.
WNBS.
That's a garage band a lot of people know as Led Zeppelin. Named, how did they come up? Oh, Led Zeppelin. I forget. I'm mixing up. Leonard Skinner was
The
a teacher.
But Led Zeppelin, someone went up to Jimmy Page, or he told Jimmy Page, who founded Led Zeppelin with Robert Plant, and someone, when he told one of his musician friends back in the day, was initially on the New Yardbirds, he said, I'm going to start a new band. And the guy said to him, greatest line ever, changed the history of rock, at least of band names. He said, oh, that'll go down like a Led Zeppelin. And Jimmy walked away and said, that's the name of the band.
That's the name. Oh, Led Zeppelin.
Isn't that amazing?
Zeppelin,
and it became
of course,
one of the best bands ever. I think the best.
Was the German term for a blimp.
Right.
Sounds cooler than blimp.
Yeah, exactly. Lead blimp, yeah. But that's an amazing line. That guy being nasty and negative gave them that
It'll go
name.
down like a
It'll go down like a Led Zeppelin,
being
Jimmy.
like the heavy
right.
metal
It'll never
lead.
work. And Jimmy walked away. He was in the book. He wrote and said, that's the name.
Led Zeppelin.
So thanks to that guy for being nasty and negative.
And of course, what the one album cover had the Hindenburg crashing.
It did. That was Zeppelin 3.
There was a great artist who lived on our dorm floor in college, and he painted that album cover on a wall. Literally,
Wow.
that was 10 feet high. It
Really?
was incredible.
That's awesome.
How cool that looked.
The artists are amazing. Some of the things people paint.
Yet my hands look just like artists. Why can't I move it the same way they do? I have the same hands.
Yeah, the woman who I somehow know, the woman my mother does actually, who painted the great mural at Story Square, if you've been there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is just amazing talent. We should get her on the air.
like-
I actually forget her name. I haven't...
My friend Kathy would sit with like at a restaurant. We'd be having pizza, and she'd be writing on a napkin, and she'd show it, and it would be like my friend.
Yeah.
You could tell it was him, and it took her 3 seconds.
I don't know how people do
Not
that.
3 minutes. I
Amazing ability. Yeah.
And here she is with a pencil on the napkin. I'm like,
Right.
that's better art than 99% of the people can do, and you did it sitting in a restaurant.
Exactly, doodling, waiting for your entree.
She held it up like, yeah, that's Chuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
we knew-
amazing.
we knew
Yeah,
it.
people are talented.
Sort of crazy. So how did I sit on the same toilet?
Oh, yeah, get to that story. You told me off the air. It's riveting.
Many years ago, a friend of ours who was a priest at our parish had to go meet with the bishop for something. So he took a bunch of the junior high kids along just to get a chance to meet the bishop of Pittsburgh, Bishop Leonard, back in the day. And when we first got there, the bishop said hello to us, blah, 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 and said the beautiful painting he had in his home. And he said, before he was Pope, and John Paul II was Pope at the time, and when he first came here, he was admiring some of the artwork we have here. It was in their entrance area. And right on this entrance area, there was a little Potter room. And he said, do you have any questions? I'm like, yeah, when the future Pope was here, and he was the cardinal at the time, Carol Voltola, I think.
There you go.
Right. And I said, by chance, when he arrived here, did he use that bathroom?
Oh, my God.
And everybody looks at me like, are you out of your mind? You're asking the bishop if a future pope used that bathroom?
Yes, you are now.
And he said, yeah, we did. And that was the end of the conversation. And he and the priest went in and had this meeting, and we hung out in the bishop's house. So, of course, I immediately went in and used that Potter room. So I could say, to this day, I used the same toilet a future pope did.
You've never bought anything from Amazon, and you used the toilet of a future pope. That is on your tombstone. Not to talk about morbid thoughts, but
the other issue I brought up, it's hardly an issue.
Wow.
A stupid story. Was I went to a wedding out in Chicago. The family was well connected to
Mafia.
and
No.
the bishop. No, not the mafia.
No.
And the cardinal from. Married him. I met the cardinal who married the bride and groom, and then of course the word came out last year that it was a cardinal who became the new pope from Chicago. And I called my friend whose child got married, and I said, "Wait a minute, did I meet the future pope?" And said, "Yeah, you did." I'm like, "That's incredible." And then 2 hours later, he called, Doug, I got bad news. Wrong cardinal.
Oh my gosh, devastating.
At that point, that cardinal was in Peru.
Oh,
I spent a lot of time in Peru. I'm like,
missionary work.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Son of a gun. I thought I met the future pope.
Well, hey, we'll try to get him on the show. We're both Catholics. You're more dedicated to it than I.
Yet that would be a cool interview.
That would be pretty good. We'd have to bump a CBS correspondent,
Yeah,
which we only get
like
them
that.
once a week. Sorry, Thane, we can't get to you today about a Supreme Court case. We have the Pope on. Sorry, Rob Owen, we can't talk about TV today.
Well, remember, it was a few years back that the former bishop from the Diocese of Greensburg was scheduled to be with us, and he got called to the Holy See, as they call it, SEE, to meet with the bishop, or meet with the Pope. And I said, that is the best excuse for canceling
That's pretty good.
an interview ever.
Sometimes it's like I got to take the kid to soccer. I got to pick up food at the wall bounds.
I'm going to be on a plane at the time.
Right, yeah. But he still blew off WMBS. I mean, you can talk to the Pope anytime. How often can you talk to Doug Saltzman on the radio?
When they called up and said, the bishop can't make it, he has to go to Rome. I'm like,
That's
wow.
amazing.
I said, listen, why won't you interview him there?
Yes.
And if he will do a conference call with the guy he's meeting with.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of close calls over the years. I don't know if you want to bring up the vice president with you almost had him. Not to dig up a bad subject.
The vice president was going to be on our show.
Quayle. No, Pence.
And
you weren't around back then.
And suddenly another local radio station grabbed it instead. But
they only had like 2 minutes.
Pence,
so
there'd be a chance to get Pence on now.
Yeah, he's not doing much, right?
He's got a foundation going. CBS News is coming up in just a moment on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug. That's Nick. 36 degrees outside our Davis and Davis Attorneys at Law Studio. WMBS Uniontown. News is next.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn. In Tucson, Arizona, there's an extensive search for Nancy Guthrie, who disappeared 11 days ago. CBS's Andres Gutierrez describes the scene.
There are agents, hundreds of them, that are found out in Nancy's neighborhood, the Catalina Foothills. It's about 30 minutes north of the sheriff's office. In fact, you notice that some of the support staff here at the sheriff's office were packing some water and snacks, bringing them up to those agents that are on the ground there.
Authorities believe she was abducted. Surveillance video shows a person in a ski mask and gloves at her door the night she went missing. Transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve tells us leaders in El Paso, Texas, were not happy the FAA closed airspace last night over a disagreement over drone testing.
There's a lot of anger coming out of the city of El Paso, government officials there. You have a community that woke up to news that there was some kind of security issue that would close the airspace for 10 days without any context. That created a lot of concern on the ground, as you can imagine.
It only lasted a few hours. Learning more about a mass shooting in British Columbia, Canada. Here's CBS's Cammie McCormick.
Deputy Police Commissioner Dwayne McDonald says the shooter was a former student at the school who had transitioned to female 6 years ago. Among the dead were her mother and stepbrother.
Suspect is identified as an 18-year-old female by the name of Jessie. We have a history of police attendance at the family residence. Some of those calls were related to mental health issues.
He says guns had been removed from the home at one point but returned. 2 weapons were recovered at the school where the suspect took her own life. Police say they have no motive in the shootings.
Senator Alyssa Slotkin responded after a grand jury refused to indict Democratic lawmakers who urged U.S. military members to resist illegal orders.
Yesterday, 20 anonymous Americans who we will never meet, who made up that grand jury, told us more about the values of America than Jeanine Pirro or Pam Bondi or certainly this president.
There won't be a new flu shot from Moderna this year. Medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder on why.
The FDA is not reviewing the vaccine right now, not because it said the shot is unsafe, not because it said it doesn't work, but because it disagrees with how one of the main studies was designed. And that's an important difference.
The January jobs report is out and better than expected with 130,000 jobs added. Business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
This was ahead of expectations. Most analysts thought there would be maybe 50 or 60,000 jobs created.
Despite the good report, stocks struggled throughout the day today, ending in negative territory. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to CBS News Roundup on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Are holiday bills flooding your mailbox? Are high credit card payments keeping you from paying basic living expenses? Are utilities threatening shutoffs? Are creditors constantly calling? Will you use your entire tax refund to pay creditors? If your answers are yes, call Zebley Law Office for a free in-person consultation to discuss your situation. We are the experts, trusted for 40 years to provide debt relief. Call Zebley Law Office today at 724-439-9200. At Zebley Law Office, we're here to help.
Wow, your dog looks beautiful. We went to Mutts on Market Street, the dog grooming salon in downtown Brownsville. Samantha has over 10 years dog grooming experience. They work with any dog, any breed, any size. Didn't it cost a fortune? No, the prices are great. They offer a full line of grooming and other services.
Mutts on Market Street, now in the new location, 15 Bridge Boulevard in Brownsville at the old Dukeman's Beer Distributor. Same great service for dogs and cats at the same great prices. Mutts on Market Street, now in the old Dukeman's in Brownsville. For more information, visit Mutts on Market Street on Facebook.
A man running for office in Florida is vowing to take matters into his own hands.
Waving an assault rifle over his head in a social media video, Republican Florida gubernatorial candidate James Fishback vowed to use the weapon against anyone who threatens him or his staff.
We're not waiting for the police. We're going to shoot you with an AR-15, sight on scene, 5.56. Yeah! That's what we're going to do.
Fishback made the video on the front porch of his home, which he claims was targeted by an arsonist last weekend. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
Radiohead's Johnny Greenwood wants his song Barbara Rose pulled from the Melania documentary because he says he didn't give them permission. He composed the song for a movie. His attorneys say while he doesn't own the copyright to the score, the film distributor failed to consult him on its use. Melania's producer claims they followed all of the proper protocols and own the rights. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
The local district and statewide news is being brought to you by Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, striving harder to get you farther. For more information, call 724-628-RIDE. And now to the news.
Good evening, 6:05 on this Wednesday, and outside of our Davis & Davis studios in Uniontown, we're looking at a temperature of 34 degrees with some rain in the area. Could see some light snow flurries this evening. Overnight low down to 26. Much more on the Weather Watch and sports in just a bit. State police in Uniontown are asking for the public's help with an investigation. This afternoon, they shared photos of a man whom they are trying to identify and speak with. The man is not facing any charges, but investigators would like to question him in connection with an ongoing incident. Anyone who recognizes the man is asked to call state police in the city of Uniontown at 724-439-7111. That's 724-439-7111. And any callers can remain anonymous. The jury in the Thomas Stanko homicide trial has begun deliberations at the Westmoreland County Courthouse in Greensburg. Following the end of arguments today, Judge Michael Stewart delivered final instructions to the jurors before they moved to private deliberations. The jury is going to consider charges of first-degree murder, third-degree murder, and reckless burning related to the arson of Cassandra Gross's SUV. Stanko is facing a mandatory life sentence without the parole possibility if he's convicted of first-degree murder. Pennsylvania's IFO, the Independent Fiscal Office, is projecting the Keystone State is going to end this fiscal year with a nearly $4 billion budget deficit, but still grow its largest reserve fund to a record nearly $8 billion, 7.8 to be exact. That report was released this week. The IFO says the deficit is expected to get bigger, growing to $6.7 billion by the end of next fiscal year 2027, even without proposals contained in the governor's spending plan factored in. This amount is the underlying structural deficit, the IFO said. The office blamed the growing deficit on the use of temporary monies to balance this year's budget. The rainy day fund is projected to have just under $1.5 billion in it when the 2026-27 fiscal year wraps up. Job growth has been stronger than expected to start this year.
The latest jobs report shows the U.S. economy added 130,000 jobs in January, which is well above analysts' expectations of around 55,000. The unemployment rate landed at 4.3%, which is down from 4.4% in December. The report would have been released on Friday, but was delayed slightly because of the partial government shutdown that ended last week. I'm Michael Kastner.
Charges are being filed in connection with the deadly 2025 single-vehicle accident in Fayette County. 38-year-old Johnny Gemis, who was a passenger in the vehicle when it crashed in Bullskin Township, suffered injuries that proved fatal. His wife, Wyola Gemis, was the driver of the vehicle and is now facing charges of homicide by vehicle and driving under the influence. And more next on WMBS.
Take the fact.
Need to get to work? Run errands? See a doctor? Fact connects Fayette County. Ride our convenient routes through Uniontown, Connellsville, Brownsville, even to Pittsburgh. Seniors 65 and older ride free on fixed routes. People with disabilities get big savings, and Medicaid recipients can ride to medical appointments at no cost through our shared ride and paratransit services. Find out if you qualify today. Call 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com. Fact, Your ride, your independence.
As Valentine's Day is quickly approaching, Pennsylvania is being ranked as one of the best states for singles. That's according to a new Wallet Hub study, which ranked which states are the best and worst for singles based off of factors like the number of single adults in the state, the economics of those who are single, and the number of restaurants, attractions, and nightlife options, which can be used for dates, and whether Doug Saltzman and Nick Barczyk are out on the town that night. Pennsylvania ranked as the 7th best state for singles, scoring its best marks in the categories of dating opportunities, romance, and fun. West Virginia ranked as the worst state for singles. Come on, WV, you can do better next year. And in sports, we have Olympic updates this evening, actually one in a few minutes, and we have high school basketball playoff action tomorrow, Thursday. CR Parado Group High School Sports Night, Sprouse Insurance Group pregame just after the news at 6, and the game at 7 is the Mustangs of Laurel Highlands are at the Ringgold Rams in Monongahela. Brian Morozak and Tony Hanula have all the action. A 5A boys, a playoff game preliminary round, radio and video coverage on YouTube Thursday night on WMBS. And now the weather watch for all of southwest Pennsylvania. We are looking at 34 degrees right now with some rain in the region, maybe some light snow flurries mixed in as well. Overnight low down at 24, only up to 30 tomorrow. Overnight low down into the teens again at 18, 37 on Friday, but a nice warm weekend, 51 for the high Saturday with sun, low at 33. Rain likely Sunday, but warm at 48, 53 on Monday, and 60. That's right, 60 for Tuesday of next week. Right now, maybe some light rain and snow at 6:10. It's 34 degrees on a Wednesday. And good evening, I'm Nick Barczyk.
The local, district, and statewide news has been a service of FACT, Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, striving harder to get you farther. Phone 724-628-RIDE for routes, rates, and schedules. 724-628-RIDE for FACT.
Your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS. Well, Doug, you have guests from all over the world, but right now we're going out to Milan, Italy for a live Olympic update for the best athletes on snow and ice. The great athletes and even the ones who do the curling. I mean, I guess they're athletes too. Right now, an Olympic update from Westwood One. This 2026 Winter Olympics update is brought to you by Pento Home Care of Uniontown. When you want award-winning personalized home care for your loved ones, call Pento Home Care at 724-322-8192.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games. Another good day for the U.S. 5 medals were won in speed skating. U.S. star Jordan Stoltz struck gold in the 1,000 meters. In freestyle skiing, the U.S. went 1-2 in the women's moguls. 20-year-old Liz Lemley in her Olympic debut won the gold. Julian Koff the silver. A silver for the U.S. in figure skating. And it's an understatement to say that Ryan Cochran Siegel is part of an Olympic skiing family. His aunt, uncle, and cousin all participated. And his mother, Barbara Cochran, won a gold medal in slalom on this date in 1972. She was in Cortina today to watch her son win a silver medal in the Super G. He did that 4 years ago, and it was the only medal won in men's alpine skiing. The Super G gold was won by Switzerland's Frenjo van Allen, his 3rd gold of the game. John Stashower, Westwood One Sports.
Pento Home Care Agency cares about you, your health, and what's best for your family. Pento Home Care is a family-owned and operated home care agency providing the convenience of personal care within your home. They'll work with your family and physicians to come up with the best plan of care for you. Pento offers personal assistance services and accepts all state waiver programs, private insurance, and private pay patients. Pento Home Care Agency has home health care available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and their experienced team of professionals provide expert care. Pento offers hospice care because they know how difficult and overwhelming a terminal illness can be by helping families through the challenging days with dignity and compassion. If you or a loved one need care or are looking for a career as a home health aide, please call them at 724-322-1683 or visit them online at pentohomecareagency.com.
This 2026 Winter Olympics update was brought to you by Pento Home Care, offering a full line of award-winning care and at-home services to help your family member in need with their daily living needs. Call Pento today at 724-322-8192.
For 35 years, Fay Penn Economic Development Council has been committed to its mission of growing Fayette County's economy and helping to bring jobs to the area. Whether you're a startup, existing, or new business in Fayette County, Fay Penn's lending team can work with you to decide if the Fay Penn Loan Fund suits your business's needs. Fay Penn's Loan Fund offers loans starting at $10,000, pending qualifications. Visit faypenn.org to learn more about financing opportunities for your business and to complete a pre-application form.
Yeah, they're the people I trust. It's the place I go. Home, warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
Planning on some home improvement projects in 2026? Stop in Home Warehouse on Funnelsville Street. Again, voted a best in Fayette place for windows and home improvements for the past 3 years. Home Warehouse is your one-stop shop for all your home exterior needs. There are beautiful windows, doors, and storm doors that will update your home, keep out drafts, and save on energy. Plus, roofing shingles, metal and commercial rubber roofing, siding, soffit and fascia, railing, as well as flooring, home and gun safes, and dog food too. So for great prices and hometown service, stop in and see Sandy and Donnie at Home Warehouse. Open Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30, Saturday 8 to 12 noon.
Home, warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
Are you considering a project design and don't know where to start? K2 Engineering offers a wide range of professional civil, architectural, and municipal services to meet your individual project needs. Our versatility, combined with our personalized approach, is what sets us apart as a full-service engineering and consultation firm. To learn more about our services, please visit us on the web at www.k2engineering.net. K2 Engineering, where customer service is our priority.
The best pizza in town is at Little E's Al Ultra, Uniontown's newest restaurant with all the organic crust, classic or gluten-free, all organic sauces, all natural meats and toppings, and a variety of specialty pizzas, including vegan options. More than pizza, Little E's has hearty homemade soups, appetizers, calzones, and strombolis, plus a variety of salads with vegan and gluten-free options. Open Wednesday and Thursday 11 to 9, Friday and Saturday until 9:30. Phone 724-880-6012 or stop in Little E's 7 West South Street across from a parking garage.
Tune in to WMBS the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and Pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
You know, when you're about to go on the air and your producer says, this is about to be the best or worst moment in radio, I don't know how to take that, Nick.
Well, there's that. We're trying to remember what we were talking about 2 minutes ago.
2 minutes ago, I say, "Oh, Nick, I have a story to tell on the air. It related to what I was just saying. What was it? Neither one of us
Then
can
you cut it
remember.
off. You said, "Can we play a radio PA update?" Which we will
do in a few minutes.
We have to play. There's a cat stolen in Philadelphia. People need to hear about that.
That's coming. We'll get to something.
A burglary in Loyal.
I can't remember what the heck I was saying.
Funny town names. Was that?
Oh,
it?
funny town names.
Yes,
we were
was
talking
that
about.
it?
That's right.
Some of them are so outrageous. Can we even say them on the air?
Yeah, I think you
I'm
can.
sure we can.
There is an Intercourse, Pennsylvania.
Climax.
Climax, PA. There's
Which I thought was in the
Accident,
South.
Maryland, which is a good one. I know what I was going to say.
A lot of accidents stem from
And,
Intercourse.
you remember, I was going to say something I forgot, and now it's not that big a deal.
Of course not. It never is.
No, it never is.
Is.
It was like I was going to say something about town names.
It was tormenting you for 5 minutes.
It was, and now that I remember what it was, I'm like, it's not that big a story.
But we have 20 minutes to
It was
fill.
like when Jerry Seinfeld in one of the episodes had this great idea for a bit, and he finally remembered what it was, and he said, "That's not funny."
No, when he was in the middle of the night,
writing things down.
Nobody could read it.
Right. I just read this the other day. This is what I was trying to remember, and it's not that big a deal.
Of course not.
The original name of Juneau, Alaska.
Wow. Even less
I
relevant.
don't know how this
than
came
I
up.
thought.
Where I was reading, I read nonstop.
Yeah.
Harrisburg.
Really?
Yes.
Harrisburg, Alaska was the original name of Harrisburg, PA, Juneau?
Yeah, the original name of Juneau, Alaska was Harrisburg.
And they changed it to avoid conflict with Harrisburg,
I don't
PA.
know. There's lots of Harrisburgs. There's
Yeah,
Harrisburg.
but the famous one's in Pennsylvania. It's the capital.
I suppose. Yeah, that would
Maybe
be.
there's one in, that's Germany, Hamburg. Where Hamburg is
Hamburg, I think is.
Yeah.
But yeah, the original name of Juneau, Alaska was Harrisburg. I'm like, well, that's
Wow.
unusual.
And the original name for Anchorage was Pittsburgh.
I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know how this came up. I'm
glad you thought for 10 minutes.
This is what I was pained with. I was tormenting.
And that's not filling 20 minutes. That's a 2-minute story.
Yeah, that's kind of a strange thing.
Anyway, yeah.
25 years ago today, what happened made big news in this region.
Yes, the implosion of Three Rivers Stadium. Were you there?
I was watching it.
I figured that.
You may have heard I worked for Arlen Specter at one point.
Take a drink if you're of age and not driving.
Right. And I was, our office was on the 20th floor of the Federal Building in downtown Pittsburgh. It had a clear view of, although we were pretty far away. So you talk about a corny thing you do. My then wife and I and two of the kids we only had 2 kids at the time, go to Eaton Park, get food to go. We go to my office, eat breakfast, and look out the window at the stadium coming down. We drove home.
No, you're not corny at all, Doug. You're not Mr. Pittsburgh at all.
And later I got upset because there were other people in the building who got on the roof, and I should have been up on the roof with my kids. That would have been a nice thing to do.
I hear they were selling passes to actually be in Three Rivers when they imploded it. And if you lived to tell the tale, you got free season tickets.
Oh, that would be cool.
I just completely made that up.
What was amazing, though, if you look at the photos, then what was going to be Heinz Field was only 100 feet away.
It was right there.
Yeah.
My dad to this day says, I don't know how pieces of it didn't fall. It was right there.
Yeah. It was a big time story when they imploded the stadium.
I've seen videos. They tore Veteran Stadium down a few years later. People weeping. I'm sure they were weeping when Three Rivers was torn down. But it's concrete.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the greatest times in Pittsburgh sports.
Right, of course.
At Three Rivers Stadium, it was. People say, "Oh, it was a dreadful place to watch the game." Not really.
No. For baseball, I'm sure, but
then sit someplace where you could see it better.
Yeah, football, I'm sure it was rocking. I never went there.
And there were times, and there's certain seats in football you couldn't see parts of the end zones just because of the weight. But it wasn't like we were alone in how that stadium looked. It was a cookie cutter stadium, and there were 3 others just like it. What were they, Nick?
Yeah, in the Northeast, Veterans, Bush, and St. Louis, and Riverfront
in Cincinnati, that's right.
Yes, the new stadiums are aesthetically more pleasing, but memory-wise, Three Rivers, naturally. And, I mean, the memories there. They won a lot, and I remember I've heard stories people ripping up seats. My uncle did after the last Steeler game.
The people they brought tools with them to the Steeler game.
Yeah.
And
he also said if none of us leave, they can't tear this place down. We're all just going to stay here for 2 months. They won't tear it down.
And so somehow you could not just take stuff out. So there was a guy near us who managed to get a seat loose.
Yeah.
And he was wearing this huge poncho.
Oh, you were at the last game?
Yeah.
Yeah. It did rain that day, yeah.
And so he put the seat under the poncho. So we were trying to run interference for him as he was going out.
Of course.
So we said, listen, they're going to look at you. You've got the seat under your poncho. It's going to stick out. So we agreed. A woman with us, sitting near us, said, I'm going to pretend to fall. As we're walking through security, because they were checking everybody going out. Yeah. And she did this stumble. It was incredible. It looked like, a
Kramer or something.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the people ran over to check on her, and this guy just walked smoothly through, and he got out with that chair.
You all bought her around that night, McFadden's, if it was there at the time.
Yeah, he got out with a chair. I grabbed something, I think a drain off the ground or something.
Now, here's a question, since I was very young when this happened. What was in that area of PNC Park, that north side?
It was a little neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there were.
I always wondered what was over there.
2 rows of houses, and there was a warehouse. But yeah, there was about 12 houses they had to tear down to do it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And they evicted people.
I'm sure they got good money for their.
I'm sure, but that's
town. That's what was there. It was
interesting,
and it was funny when I was at work in the Federal Building. I had the perfect view when they were building the new stadium, right over center field, right down to home plate. I'm like, wow, this will be kind of goofy during a day game. I'll get out my binoculars and be able to look right down. Until they built the, what's it called, the batter's eye?
Yes, that green.
The wall.
Yes, which they have to have.
They have to have. So, and that blocked my view of home plate.
Darn batter's eye.
I'm like, doggone, I could have watched the game from 1.5 miles away with my binoculars.
So you couldn't see it all now over that thing?
Well, I couldn't see home plate, but you could see the stadiums.
Yeah, that's cool.
But that was an exciting time. Nobody ever thought that those stadiums would have been built. They did. I don't know if you weren't around yet, or maybe you barely were.
Well, but who really wanted the Pirate Stadium built, at least, was Sophie Maslow.
Sophie, she said, let's have a baseball-only stadium. People laughed at her.
They did, and she wanted to call it Clemente Field.
Right.
Adorable Sophie, not realizing everything has a sponsor now. Good luck trying to get that done.
Yeah.
PNC's been a great partner for them, though. They have.
Oh, my gosh.
Now Acrisure stepped in because Heinz, I guess, ran out of money.
They didn't. I guess they didn't want to pay.
And by the way, that's the greatest thing any company's ever done. Did anyone know about Acrisure before that name was on the stadium?
And now it's
it was headquartered in Michigan. Did people in Michigan know about it?
Right.
Now everyone knows about it.
Right, because it's
all over America.
It's mentioned, and
if you're a football fan, you know Acrisure now.
Because the Steelers are so popular, they get the night games, they get the holiday games.
And now with the draft, they're going to say 1,000,000 times we're live outside Acrisure Stadium.
Right.
It's the best investment anyone's ever made, ever.
Right. I'd never heard of Acrisure.
No, nobody has.
If you're going down 51 now, if you're going south on 51 before you get to Ross Draver and the interchange with 51 and 70, there's been this company on the right side, a small office building, always looks very nice, and now has a big sign out front. It says Acrisure.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, I guess
that's amazing.
Maybe they sold Acrisure the whole time, but now they put a sign up because people know what it means. I've always been puzzled by when companies pay money to sponsor, to have a name like Consol Energy Center.
Yeah.
It was coal and natural gas. It's not a retail company.
Correct.
Now, it's very nice of them to do that, but I don't know if that is it like an ego thing for the CEOs because they
probably yeah.
Or
now
Mellon Arena at that point. Mellon was not a retail bank. They sold all the retail to Citizens Bank.
That was sad when the Igloo went.
The Igloo was classic.
Sad about that.
Yeah,
and that was an even bigger dump than Three Rivers, frankly.
Talk to anybody who tried to like have a concert there. It was not built to like back 18-wheelers up to the stage.
No.
So the new one is designed to do just that.
Would open the roof and that smoke would go.
The poor Hill District would get high from all the marijuana smoke. I was there a few times. They never. I don't think they ever opened it for Penguin games because they couldn't control the humidity.
Right.
But I remember they opened it for a soccer game. They used to have the indoor soccer team, the Spirit, I think. And I remember once seeing the Birds there, and they opened it for them. That seemed appropriate. And they opened it one time when I was there to see the Grateful Dead.
Oh, Deadhead, Jerry Garcia. You met him at a bookstore in Oakland.
In Oakland, that's right. I had him sign a book. I just grabbed the book off the shelf, and then we lost that book in a flood at our house.
Of course.
Bummer.
I would say.
That was my wife had given birth to one of our kids, and I'm sitting in the room staring at her, and she's like, "Go do something. I'm tired of you staring at me."
Enough.
And so off I went to a bookstore in Oakland.
There you go. Hung out with college kids.
Hemingway's just closed in Oakland.
I was going to say that you're going to bring up. You met Ernest Hemingway.
No, I never met Ernest
I'm
Hemingway.
out. I'm walking out if you claim that.
No, Hemingway's, which has been a bar. My then girlfriend, later wife, now ex-wife, and I went on dates there. My daughter was just there last night for their last ever music trivia night.
Oh, wow.
But Hemingway's, which has been there for over 40 years in Oakland.
That's not where Rick Seaback did his trivia night, was it? Or
no,
he spins records.
Yeah, he spins records. I think it's in Squirrel Hill somewhere.
Squirrel Hill?
Yeah,
right.
On Wednesday nights.
Tonight.
Right now.
Well, we'll call
so
him
if you're going to see him, listen to our show on the way.
Of course. That's how he would want it. Listen on your phone. You may not get radio reception up there.
Yeah. And the signal's been more, I hear it all throughout Allegheny County these days.
Yeah.
The signal's really moving very soon. I was up driving 79 one day near Meadville and turned on the station. It was clear as a bell.
In Meadville?
In Meadville.
Awesome.
It's just how it bounces, I guess,
That's
at times.
Right.
Yeah, so some other stations you think I should be able to hear this station, I can't hear it.
Exactly.
And then WMBS comes in up
we're
near,
all over the Laurel Highlands, I guess.
Up near Meadville. Yeah, you bounce off the mountains, you get that sort of signal. My dad, when he was in the military, he served in Korea before he went there. He was at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, and he was doing a guard at night at one of the posts at the base. And he would tune in his radio, and he could listen to KDKA from back home.
Oh,
he
said, K.
"Yeah,
that's awesome."
He said, "Oh, it made him feel good. He could listen to the hometown station." He said, "I couldn't pick it up when I was in Korea."
That's great.
Yeah,
yeah. Good luck with that.
So,
hoodles.
We were talking earlier about Acrisure Stadium. Of course, now we're down to about 70 days, 73 days or something.
The draft.
Until the draft.
The economic impact of that. We talk about the Olympics.
Mind-boggling.
On NBC.
Hundreds of millions.
And this is the biggest event they can host, at least sports-wise, unless if we ever got a GOP or Democratic convention, that would be bigger. But we're not going to get the Super Bowl, frankly.
I'm not even sure if that's bigger.
Olympics. That's a good point. Sadly, I think the NFL draft may hold more interest than
because 40,000 people can't go down to the convention. Well,
Cleveland had the GOP convention, so I guess it could come to Pittsburgh. One of them,
right?
Go to PPG Paints, or maybe even at Acrisure.
They're always indoors.
The Broncos Stadium outdoors in 2008.
That's right.
One thing.
But
we're not getting the Super Bowl or the Olympics. This is pretty much it.
Yeah, that would be cool though. They ought to try. It would be great to watch a Super Bowl in the snow.
You would like that? Well, I think they want to get the best possible matchup with weather not being a factor. I don't mind it for any other game except the Super Bowl, but we'll see. In New York, I think they were going for that, but it didn't snow that day. It was 40s.
Right.
They have an outdoor stadium. They granted them the Super Bowl. Detroit had it. It was freezing cold that day with snow, but that was a dome.
Right.
So Minnesota's had it. So they'll give it to cold weather climates if they have a dome. If Pittsburgh had a retractable roof, I'm sure they would get one.
The one thing I think that hurts Pittsburgh on events like that is just the hotel space.
Right. I mean, Los Angeles can't find hotel rooms for the Olympics. I'm like, LA's one of the biggest cities in the world.
Right.
Second biggest in America.
And now,
it's so spread out.
Now they're trying to figure out how to take care of it. It's less, and it's 2 years away.
Yeah, let's get on it.
Did it just occur to them that... I mean, there'll be people staying in San Diego, for heaven's sake.
Of course. Maybe even in San Francisco, all over the state, maybe.
Yeah.
But come on.
I would think
Los Angeles,
they don't have
any American city. If Atlanta could do it, how can L.A.?
Yeah,
Salt Lake City's had the Olympics. That's way smaller
Where?
than L.A. Salt Lake City's had multiple.
Well,
maybe the
Winter
doesn't
Olympics.
draw like the summer.
Yeah, they don't draw like the summer. But that's
if Atlanta can do it, LA should.
Yeah, I was when that report was on early on CBS News. And
That's crazy.
I was surprised to hear that they're trying to address the issue. Well, it's pretty simple. You need more hotels.
Yes, and the man running the LA 28 committee, of course, says he was on Epstein's Island, so they have that to deal with. In addition, he was. Casey
I wasn't. You weren't. I think everybody else was.
Howard Lutnick was there, Commerce Secretary. I think everyone was. Bill Clinton, Trump. They just didn't invite us. We're not cool enough.
I guess not, but. The Olympics, at times the impact, with this one, they were worried just 2 months ago whether the facilities were going to be done.
For hockey,
and I guess where they do the speed skating is not a permanent facility. They put it into an existing building, and they have these large tarps hanging up because they're trying to control the humidity.
Right.
Because I was watching the Olympics, there's different types of ice, which is sort of interesting. It's not all the same types of ice.
Let's go into an ice breakdown.
It's thicker ice. The thickest ice, they say, is for speed skating. And I'm sorry, for figure skating, because it's got to be able to take somebody landing on it from 4 feet in the air.
True.
And different for you were making fun of it earlier.
Oh, curling.
Curling, they have a different ice compared to hockey, compared to this.
Right.
So, but no, so far so good. You don't hear complaints about facilities not working well,
no, it's been great.
And they were scrambling to get all that stuff done, and it's not cheap to put those things together.
The Italians, their can-do spirit, they put down the pasta and they got to it.
And they're winning.
They are. Italy's doing well.
They're pulling in the golds, and
of course the Winter Games. It's going to be Norway, Sweden. They're going to dominate the U.S., Canada.
Right, exactly. In hockey, that's
how about
for
the
sure.
U.S. women's hockey team? They're
doing well.
When you beat
but
Canada
first,
5-0.
Let's go to the update. That's okay.
CBS News Brief. FBI agents are fanned out through Nancy Guthrie's Tucson, Arizona neighborhood and the surrounding roads. CBS's Andreas Gutierrez is there.
They are trying to find any little clue that could perhaps find Nancy, or again, perhaps any evidence that the suspect got rid of.
While it has reopened, El Paso Mayor Renard Johnson says the FAA should not have shut down airspace last night.
You cannot restrict airspace over a major city without coordinating with the city. That failure to communicate is unacceptable.
In British Columbia, Police Commissioner Dwayne McDonald says a mass school shooting was carried out by a former student. She also killed her mother and stepbrother at their home.
Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our suspect.
CBS News Brief. I'm Stacey Lynn.
There's only one best lunch spot in Uniontown. Titlo Tavern and Grill on West Main Street, serving 8-ounce Reubens, foot-long cheesesteaks and subs, half-pound handmade burgers, plus pizza, calzones, strombolis, pepperoni rolls, and fresh salads like Greek, antipasto, salmon, steak, and chicken. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 9, Friday till 10, Saturday 2 to 10. Dinner and happy hour specials nightly, and private parties are welcome. Call 724-437-6749. Titlo Tavern and Grill.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Are delinquent credit cards, medical bills, and personal loans stressing you out? Are you unable to catch up? Are the debt collection calls just too much? If yes, then call Zebley Law at 724-439-9200. Zebley Law provides free in-person consultations. Then, using our decades of experience, we recommend a plan for relief. Before hiring a debt relief company or an out-of-town bankruptcy firm, call the local law firm serving Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties since 2001. Call Zebley Law at 724-439-9200.
Tune in to WMBS Saturday mornings at 8:20 for Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, certified financial planner, investment advisory representative, syndicated columnist, and author, as he addresses such income issues as planning for retirement, future healthcare expenses, avoiding financial pitfalls, and much more. That's Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, Saturday mornings at 8:20 right here on WMBS, or Gary Boatman welcomes your calls at 724-243-3075. That's 724-243-3075.
Valentine's Day's coming up, and nothing says Be My Valentine quite like flowers from Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop. Choose from fresh floral arrangements starting at just $30 or classic roses starting at $55 a dozen. Want to really impress? Call early and have Valentine's flowers delivered right to her workplace. Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop in Smithfield. Open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 to 5. Call 724-564-2696.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Nick, you were saying something there right before we had to go to the break. Now, let's see if we can remember what happened 5 minutes ago.
No chance. We've talked about 10 different things. I've called our next guest. We had
You were just about to tell a story, and I said, hey, we have to go to the news.
Was it about the Olympics? Was it about the ice? No, that was you.
Different types of ice at the Olympics. I didn't realize that was a thing. We're talking about hockey.
Our next guest is so bored that's trying to come up with our next story.
Italy has no current or former
NHL players.
Right. And they were 3-2 against one of the better teams.
Oh, we may be talking about Russia not being allowed.
Oh, Russia wasn't. Russia and Belarus.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because they support Russia invading Ukraine.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think Russian athletes can go. They're under the banner. They have an Olympic flag when they walk in.
Well, actually, they weren't even allowed to walk in. They weren't allowed to be part of that.
But no
parade.
Russian flags are permitted.
No Russian flag. Yeah,
I get it. People have issues with it. I don't personally.
Well, you
the Olympics are always political.
I thought you meant you don't.
I don't
mind
have an issue
countries
with being
invading
excluded.
other countries.
I have an issue with that. If it's not warranted, which that was not.
Yeah.
If you're offended by that, I don't care.
I remember
if you're Russian and don't like that.
We had we knew people whose son was going to go to the 1980 Olympics in the Soviet Union, and then Jimmy Carter said, "No, we're not going." Yeah. It didn't go over too well.
No, it did not.
And that was because Russia invaded Afghanistan at the time.
That's right.
I think.
But we had the Miracle on Ice that year, so that was back when they were both in the same
year.
In the same year. So at least we got the Winter Games.
And that was smart they did that. They divided them up like that. So you have Olympics every 2 years.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess I forgot that in 28 it's going to be in
Los Angeles.
In L.A.
they can
again.
Find hotels. Good Lord.
Yeah, they don't have enough hotels in L.A. I don't get it.
A massive city, most spread out city in America. New York's more dense.
Right.
So, I mean, they should be able to.
15 million people are coming. They said they're trying to address the issue. Well, I don't know. Build hotels. I'm no genius.
2 years. They have time.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. Joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line, she's been a guest with us before, former Pennsylvania State Senator, former Congresswoman Melissa Hart. Melissa, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Well, at least I'm not formally Melissa Hart.
No, you're not formally Melissa Hart. Or you could be like, or unless you have a symbol for your name.
Yeah, exactly.
The woman formerly known as Melissa Hart.
I like
you
that.
could have a symbol like Prince had at one
Purple Rain.
At one point, I suppose. But no, I don't think anybody's ever mixed up Melissa Hart and Prince. I'm not sure. I don't think.
No, they have not.
Yeah,
and there was, speaking of Prince, one of the figure skaters used the Prince song.
Oh, did they really? Oh, that's kind of cool. That's
I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Purple Rain. I don't know.
It was Kiss. It was Kiss.
The beret one.
Kiss.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
It was actually really well done. I think the person was from like Latvia or something.
It is amazing when you watch those athletes. And a guy that can skate along and jump up and spin 4 times and land and keep moving. The quad god, as they call him. I can't think of his name. My mother would be offended.
Ilya Malinin.
Oh, very good.
Wow,
good for you. You've been watching the.
Wow, she's really into the Olympics.
Oh, she has a good memory.
I thought I was interested. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do enjoy the Olympics. I like the crazy sports, as I was saying earlier.
I like all the skating.
Yeah.
Except speed skating. I'm starting to tire of speed skating.
Oh, I love speed skating.
Yeah, I like the short track stuff. It's like roller derby almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, they are running over each
Somehow
other
I can
a
remember
lot.
the guy that made it famous for America, Apollo Ono. Was that his name?
Yes.
The guy that had the little soul patch. Can I say that on the radio? Remember that? He had the little bit.
Can't remember his daughter's names, but remembers an old speed skater.
Yeah. If I talk to my daughters, I called my daughter the other day Charlie. That's the dog's name.
There you go.
So yeah, I'm not very
That's
good.
scary.
I'm very good at that. Doing that. It's called. And they say Dad'll go through the cycle. I'll go through all 4 names to get the right name of the right kid.
So at least you know there's 4.
There's 4. I do know there's 4. That's right.
That's pretty impressive.
So let's talk about the topic we wanted to talk about. This is, I'm sure it's not unprecedented, but it's pretty unique. I guess unusual is a better way to put it, that a sitting governor from Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, is having a private legal battle with his next door neighbor of his private home in Montgomery County. The state, I guess, spent, after the attack on the governor's mansion in Harrisburg, they spent millions of dollars upgrading security at his private home, which is a little puzzling.
Yes, a lot of puzzling.
When you could live in
especially
the other
when you
home.
look at the numbers.
Right. And I guess there's some dispute that they somehow use property of the next door neighbor. Tell us what you know about this. This is one of your many areas of expertise. You do real estate law in addition to your work over the years as a state senator and congresswoman. But this is one of those odd situations. I talked to a law professor. He said, well, that's a first. That's one of the strangest stories I've heard in a while. Why would they let this drag on so long?
I think we have a personality trait in the governor that is really being exposed by this dispute.
Tell us exactly what it is and explain what the issue is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to give props to Angela Columbus of Spotlight. She wrote a really good article that was published earlier this week.
We've had her on the show. Yeah, she's a good reporter.
Yeah, to update everybody about it. And I wanted to refresh my memory also about the whole issue of the governor and using state taxpayer money of almost $1.1 million to upgrade the security at his private residence, which I personally think is out of hand and outrageous and inappropriate. But the fact that he was having contractors and state police on the borders, the perimeter of his property, beginning in, from what I can tell, from what I've read, around July, and they hired a bunch of engineers to survey, and they had, I guess they spent like $311,000 for the security system itself. Yeah, but they've also spent a fortune on landscaping and groundskeeping. So these people have been on his property since July or August, it looks like, trying to spend this incredible amount of money to upgrade the doors, to do some kind of fencing. They're trenching. They're doing trenching for electric, so that they can install a security system, and like it's all really over the top.
What I don't understand is I wouldn't have any problem with them doing this if that was his only home. Yeah, you want the governor to be safe and his family, but there is a home provided to him free of charge. The governor's mansion, which is a beautiful home. It overlooks the Susquehanna River, not far from the Capitol in Dauphin County. So yeah, they do provide a home to him, but apparently he doesn't live there a whole lot. He lives at both places, but that's my concern. There's a home for him. Yeah.
The last 3 Democrat governors of Pennsylvania seem to have wanted to live in their own homes and drag all the security people with them all the time instead of having the security people where they used to be assigned, which was at the governor's residence in Harrisburg. Wolf was always going back and forth to Wolf Mountain, if you may recall. And even Governor Rendell didn't stay there all the time. I just, it's like the president doesn't stay, at the White House all the time, but he's also not asking for, us to buy him a security system from Mar-a-Lago. I mean, this, in my view, would be reasonable if it was upgrading security like normal security, but spending over $1 million to secure just a run-of-the-mill suburban residence in Abington Township in Montgomery County, I'm sorry, but that's probably more than the house is worth.
Yeah. What's interesting, too, about this is this is not like the neighbor complaining, we don't like the noise, we don't like the thing. They're suing each other. So Shapiro is also suing his neighbor.
Sued.
Yeah.
Correct. The neighbor sued first. And the neighbor's suit is really more of a infringement suit. And the neighbor actually supplied in their lawsuit photographs of trees that Shapiro planted that were on their property. And there's one picture that actually shows state troopers standing on their property, like apparently guarding him or something. But what's interesting is these trees and things that were planted, I mean, the family's last name is Mock, that they have objected to these things. And so there's been a dispute going back and forth. I don't know exactly when the dispute began, but it doesn't look like there was a whole lot of a dispute before Shapiro decided, that he was going to spend all that money on securing his house.
Yeah,
and at that point,
go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
He was expanding his property line onto the Mock's property. But what's interesting is he has admitted that the property that is in dispute is not property that is on the boundaries on his deed. That property is actually on the boundaries of the Mock's deed. Right. Okay? So when the Mock sued to get him off of the property and for damages, and basically they're making the claim, and rightly so, when you've got state troopers wandering around in the back of your property, who you didn't ask to come there, right? That he's using his power to kind of occupy. That's the claim that they're making, kind of occupy his property.
The Mocks, that's the name of the family who lived next door. And
correct.
This right here, I'm quoting from their lawsuit. It says, on multiple occasions, when the Mocks have attempted to use their property, the state police have insisted the area was disputed and told them to immediately exit their property.
Yes.
And then it said, in addition to a drone, being flown over their property, the Mocks also alleged state police blocked them from constructing their own fence, saying it was a security zone, part of the disputed property.
It's disputed property. That's just ridiculous. They have no right
the lawsuit
to say that because it's...
And this goes back to August of 2025. The Shapiro family's attorney informed the Mock that they would use, quote, alternative actions to obtain the property and would go on to claim the contested land belonged to the Shapiros through adverse action. Now, I the only way I can think of government taking property is through eminent domain, and that's usually for a highway or something, but not something like this.
And that is not what this is. That term that they use, would you say adverse?
Alternative actions to obtain the property.
Alternative actions. Yeah,
what that means.
And the alternative action that Shapiro means is something called adverse possession. So if I own a property and you own a property next door to me, and there's a strip of land where you put a fence 30 years ago, but it happens to be on my property, and I don't notice or fight you about it or say anything about it, and you decide you want to go to court to get the additional strip of land added to your deed, you probably have a good case because you've been using that land. I haven't opposed you using the land, and you've had it for more than 21 years, and that's the magic number, okay, that you've been using it for 21 years.
It's called an easement,
openly,
right? They have an
an
easement
uncontested.
Yeah.
Right. And so Shapiro's trying to claim it's a strip. It's actually, what it looks like to me is the Mocs have a larger piece of ground, okay, than the Shapiros do. And the Mocs appear to have the front of their property on a different street than the Shapiros do. But the back of their property also goes to the street that Shapiros are on, okay? But the strip of land that the Mocs have, I think when the land was laid out, they wanted to give the people an opportunity to either access the land from the one street or the other street, okay? But the Mocs chose, or whoever, the Mocs haven't lived there forever, whoever first developed that home, developed it so that it faces the other street. But there is an opportunity to get out the back way. It's a narrow strip of land that almost looks like it would be a driveway or something like that. That's what that strip looks like to me, and that the Shapiros want it because who knows why. It's just more land for them.
Right.
It's just ridiculous.
The terminology you use, adverse possession, I'm looking it up here on something called pointtopointsurvey.com. Adverse possession is a concept in real estate law in which someone may be able to possess all or part of another titled real estate property by occupying the land for an extended period of time. And you said legally that has to be, it's interesting, not 20, but 21 years.
In Pennsylvania it is, yeah. And you have to take it to court. It doesn't just happen, okay? You have to file a quiet title action in court to get it before a judge, and the judge has to weigh all the evidence. And you have, if there's a point at which, say after 10 years, okay, of Shapiro planting trees on it, the Mocs said to him, "Get off our property." Well, it's over. Right. He has to start 21 years all over again, okay? So it's really hard to get adverse possession. You have to, it has to almost be a property that someone abandoned. Yeah. Like there were stories, where in cities where there was just an abandoned lot, where a house was torn down and then they never did anything with the property. Somebody started, holding community events there or having picnics there, and every year, or maybe they put a patio there or whatever. Those kinds of things are often the kinds of cases that end up in adverse possession because it's obvious, right? Joe Smith has an annual picnic on this property that's adjacent to his house, and he goes in and he files to own it because nobody's ever said you can't do that. Yeah. And 21 years later, right, he takes it to court. That's what Shapiro's trying to do for this. Yeah. But the problem is that the Mocs have objected to Shapiro doing what Shapiro's doing. And the other issue is that the Mocs haven't been there for 21 years, okay? They have moved in. They bought property with a certain deeded area that Shapiro had never taken an action to make his own. So honestly, I don't think a judge would award that property to Shapiro in the suit that he filed. I think he's just being an obstinate neighbor and trying to get them to back down. Yeah.
We were talking
now.
Go ahead. No, we're talking with former Congresswoman Melissa Hart, also an expert and a counselor herself, an attorney with expertise in real estate law. So let's shift from that point. We have just a few minutes left here to talk about the political end of this. Why would a sitting governor, who obviously wants to run for president, he won't say I'll serve a full 4-year term if he wins re-election. Why would he let this go this far? Cover it. Find a way. Buy the land and say, okay.
He tried.
It's bizarre that he would allow this to happen.
It's like he's a petulant child. He tried to buy it from them, and they told him to go pound salt.
Yeah, everything has a price. You would think.
And then they hired a surveyor. Right. They hired a surveyor to come and basically. They call it a pin, where they put these stakes in the ground.
Sure. Everybody has those somewhere
so everybody
on the property
knows,
usually. Yeah.
Right, where the land starts and ends. And Shapiro, the security detail, wouldn't let the surveyor do his job. I mean, we're talking there's bad blood here.
Yeah,
between these folks.
And it's funny. This isn't the biggest story in the world, but this is the type of thing that becomes an issue. Like he's fighting with his own neighbor.
Yeah.
It's like, you put your fence right on the property line, so I'm not letting you on my side of the fence to paint the fence. You know, that what you hear about.
Right. And honestly, if he had, I don't understand why somebody who's in politics is allowing a dispute with his neighbor to continue, period.
It's gone on for months.
When they
half a
first
year.
disagreed, take your fence and move it in 2 feet.
Yeah.
You know, and just build your fence and shake hands with your neighbor. And in this case, it's weird. I mean, it's really weird. And I think it harms him. And I think, but like I said at the beginning, it does show who he is. It's his personality. I mean, it's his way or the highway. And he'll tell you whatever he needs to tell you to get elected, but then he's going to do what he wants to do.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where we see him here.
It's one of the strangest stories. And I was talking to a law professor earlier today. He said, "Yeah, that's bizarre." And this guy's seen everything. It's one of the more unique. And I wanted to talk to an expert on all things politics and real estate law. You were the perfect one to talk to on this.
Well, I'd never get into a property dispute like this as an elected official, and I try to avoid it as a regular person. I mean, It's the last thing you really want is to have to look at somebody next door all the time who you're having a dispute with.
Right. Yeah. It's not a happy way to go through life when you're fighting with your neighbors. I've always been lucky over the years. We've never had that issue wherever I've lived. But it must be a pain in the neck, especially if it's the governor and he's got state police officers saying, "Get off your own land."
Right. And that is what the people are claiming in their suit, that he's using the power of the governorship to basically, occupy their land.
We'll wait and see if
that's a federal suit that they filed.
Yeah, we'll wait and see if this comes up in the current gubernatorial election, which is happening this year in 2026.
Oh,
that's
you
for
bet
sure.
it will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Melissa Hart,
Doug, thanks.
counselor at law. Thanks so much for your analysis of a truly interesting and unique situation. That's for sure. Hey, thanks so much. All right.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Melissa Hart joining us on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line. We're going to take a break and wrap up hour number 2. We're with you till 8 o'clock tonight. We'll tell you who's coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Chris Parker Jr., what's going on at Autoland Hyundai?
0% financing is back. How about 0% for 60 months on 2026 all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucsons and Santa Fe? Or HMF bonus cash up to $4,000 on Santa Fe Hybrid. The only thing lower than 0% are the below zero temperatures we've had.
You're right about that.
With great Hyundai financing, over 100 new Hyundais in stock, and affordable vehicles like the 2026 Venue crossover and award-winning Elantra, it's easy to get away during the Hyundai Getaway sales event.
Any leasing deals?
Lease a 26 Elantra SE for $199 per month, or 26 Kona SE crossover for $219 a month. Just see us for details.
Plus Hyundai Assurance, America's best warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection, 5-year unlimited miles roadside assistance. Autoland Hyundai, 25 East Fayette Street, downtown Uniontown, or visit their website at autolandhyundai.com.
And remember, you'll always pay less to drive the best at Autoland Hyundai.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
Be prepared for bone-chilling winter weather. Have Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning install a Bryant high-efficiency furnace in your home to replace that old worn-out system you now have. Choose Bryant's Plus 90 gas furnace or other quality heating system to keep yourself and your family warm and toasty this winter. Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning will also keep your present furnace running at peak efficiency with their 15-point safety check and cleaning. Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning today for your appointment. 724-439-2323. That's Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, Route 119 north of Uniontown, located near Laurel Mall.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles, and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
That's Jimi Hendrix bringing us out of the break. Many years ago, my brother saw the Monkees at the old Civic Arena. You know who opened for the Monkees for a while till they realized it just wasn't a good fit?
Was it Jimi Hendrix?
Jimi Hendrix.
He opened for the Monkees.
Opened for the. So here's moms bringing their kids. Oh, we're going to go see the Monkees. Jimi Hendrix up there playing guitar between his legs and setting his guitar on fire.
Wow.
So who came up with that? I have a great idea for an opening act for the Monkees.
The Monkees were a big deal, right? They had a TV show.
They had their own TV show.
Yeah.
For a while, they didn't play their own music.
No, spelled Monkees.
Yeah,
and why
they did not play their own music, and then finally the one guy said we got to start playing our own music.
There you go.
So they played their own music. Coming
Jimmy
up,
was spelled Jimi, by the way, Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
Weird spellings.
In the third half, fourth half, I don't know, the 7 o'clock hour, Loman Henry's going to join us, and Rob Owen talking about the economic impact of the Olympics and its impact on television. All that on your local station, WMBS, Union Time. News is coming up.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn. FBI agents have found out through the Catalina foothills on the search for Nancy Guthrie, who disappeared 11 days ago. CBS's Andreas Gutierrez is in Tucson, Arizona.
So far, they still do not have a person of interest or any suspects in this case. Nancy is still out there, they believe, still alive, and they're hoping that a $50,000 reward that the FBI is offering will churn up any leads in finding her safe and bringing her back home to be reunited with her children, or perhaps also arresting the individual or person who ended up doing this to her.
To Capitol Hill, where the House has voted to overturn President Trump's tariffs on Canada. 6 Republicans broke with their party to support it, while 1 Democrat voted no. The measure now heads to the Senate. Speaker Mike Johnson says the president could veto it if it reaches his desk. There was also a heated hearing in Congress today. Attorney General Pam Bondi was grilled by lawmakers on her handling of the Epstein files.
It was very combative. And, for the survivors in the room, many of whom stood up multiple times, they didn't necessarily get the answers that they were seeking.
President Trump met with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu in a closed-door meeting at the White House. CBS's Weisha Zhang says a big topic of discussion was Iran's nuclear program.
So the president says in an Axios interview that the second round of those talks will be sometime next week. But even though they're talking, what we don't know is how much substantial progress they're actually making toward an agreement.
Actor James Van Der Beek has died at the age of 48.
Where are you going? Spend the night.
Not tonight.
James Van Der Beek and Katie Holmes kept audiences guessing, will they or won't they, for years on Dawson's Creek. The cast always stayed close last year, reuniting for a benefit show for a reading of the original pilot. Van Der Beek was too ill to attend. Now, during his personal battle, he never let his illness define him.
What am I? And I meditated and the answer came through. I am worthy of God's love.
Matt Wolf, CBS News.
To Milan, where Team USA is racking up the medals at the Winter Olympics. Speed skater Jordan Stoltz won a gold today. Freestyle skiers Elizabeth Lemley and Jalen Koff took the gold and silver. Alex Hall earned a silver medal in the men's free ski slope style yesterday.
Yeah, it felt fantastic to win the medal. Any medal at the Olympics is an amazing feeling, whether it's gold, silver, bronze.
Americans now have secured 12 medals so far, including 4 gold, 6 silver, and 2 bronze. This is CBS News.
Real crimes, real justice. Follow and listen to 48 Hours on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-885-8877. 800-885-8877. Again, that's 800-885-8877.
Cuba's tourism industry is under increasing pressure as the severe fuel crisis continues. CBS's Cami McCormick.
With Cuba's aviation authorities warning airlines the country's running out of jet fuel, vacations have been cut short for many Canadians, an important segment of the tourist population.
I hope it's going to be temporary because Cubans really need the tourism, and I know Canadians play a big part of it.
Cuba is also popular with Russian tourists. Moscow has now announced it plans to evacuate thousands of its citizens within days.
McDonald's website crashed yesterday. They were offering free McNugget caviar kits for Valentine's Day that included the fancy fish roe, creme fraiche, and a mother-of-pearl spoon along with a $25 McDonald's gift card. They sold out within minutes. There was so much traffic on the website, it crashed. If you aren't one of the lucky ones that got one, they're popping up on sites like eBay now for hundreds of dollars. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-885-8877. 800-885-8877. Again, that's 800-885.
Take the fact book.
Caring for an aging parent or a loved one with medical needs? FACT, Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, can help. Seniors 65 and older ride free on our fixed routes. People with disabilities get discounted shared rides. And if your loved one has medical assistance, their trips to doctors or treatment are covered under the shared ride program. Give them safe, reliable independence and yourself peace of mind. Call 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com. FACT, your community, your connection.
If only you could hear the off-air conversation. Doug and I really enjoying ourselves here in the Davis & Davis studios. Coming up, Loman Henry and Rob Owen at your local station, WMBS Uniontown. It is 7:06 and off to Italy.
This 2026 Winter Olympics update is brought to you by Zebley Law Office. Are holiday bills and credit card debt collections weighing you down? Call Zebley Law today for a free consultation to see if they can provide help for you. 724-439-9200.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big. Quote today at Progressive.com. U.S. won 5 medals Tuesday, 5 more today. Jordan Stolz, the first of what could be 4 gold medals in speed skating. He won the 1,000 meters. Freestyle skiing had the women's moguls, and 20-year-old Elizabeth Lemley in her Olympic debut won the gold medal. Her teammate Jalen Koff took the silver, as she did 4 years ago. Also in Beijing, Ryan Cochran-Siegel won a silver medal in alpine skiing, the Super G. Another silver today for the son of Barbara Cochran, who won a skiing gold medal for the U.S. in 1972. The gold in that Super G went to Frenjo van Almen of Switzerland. He earlier won the downhill and the combined. 3 gold medals. First skier to do that since Jean-Claude Keely in 1968. The other U.S. medal today was a silver in figure skating. With this Winter Games update, John Stashower, Westwood One Sports.
Are holiday bills flooding your mailbox? Are high credit card payments keeping you from paying basic living expenses? Are utilities threatening shutoffs? Are creditors constantly calling? Will you use your entire tax refund to pay creditors? If your answers are yes, call Zebley Law Office for a free in-person consultation to discuss your situation. We are the experts, trusted for 40 years to provide debt relief. Call Zebley Law Office today at 724-439-9200. At Zebley Law Office, we're here to help.
This 2026 Winter Olympics update was brought to you by Zebley Law Office. Attorney Charles Zebley and team are ready to help you get your finances in order and get your life back on track. Call them today at 724-439-9200.
Looking for a dentist? Dr. Michael George and Dr. Ashley Parker of George Dental Associates, a Uniontown staple, has over 40 years' experience treating patients of all ages. Their caring, professional team of dentists and their staff offer a full range of dental services, including restorative, preventative, pediatric, cosmetic, and so much more. Visit georgedentalassociates.com today. That's georgedentalassociates.com and find out how they can enhance your smile through the art of dentistry.
Tune in to WMBS the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and Pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors, where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items, including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
We have your gifts to celebrate love, birthdays, anniversaries, special occasions, or all the above. Things that go bling, earring pendants and rings, all types of handbags, crossbodies, concealed carry, and slings, Western Southwest, boots, hats, and more, silver Zapata jewelry, fun fashion turquoise, it's a staple in our store. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown, located in the rear of the State Farm Building, 724-557-6184. We value your shopping experience here with us at Strap, so come on in, sit a spell, enjoy a refreshment, and a bag of peanuts. Strap, 724-557-6184. We're open Tuesday to Friday, 11 to 5, and Saturdays, 10 to 3. Convenient street parking right in front of our shop. You're sure to adore us, and you'll love our prices. Shop small, shop Strap.
There we go. Doug Saltzman, Nick Barczyk, talking off the air and then on the air. Good to have you back. We are with you till 8 o'clock tonight. No sports tonight.
Yes, no live play-by-play, if you
I
will.
often hear people say no play-by-play sports. Are there other non-play-by-play sports?
Well, I guess technically we've had sports on tonight with the Olympic updates.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And there are sports talk shows, but play-by-play, you know.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. See, I
he dribbles into the corner, hands it off to Wilson, he lays it in. That's play-by-play, you know. What Bill Hillgrove and Brian Morozak do, and Joe Block and Greg Brown, who we had on last night.
Speaking of play-by-play and Pitt sports, they held their own last night against the Blue Devils for a while. I think they just got worn down.
Duke is a projected 1 seed. They're the 4th best team in the country. Pitt's unranked, and they did. I mean, to only lose by 16, it was within single digits in the second half, I think.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Pitt was up about halfway through the first half.
Got to give it to
quarters.
Duke, though. They're good every year.
Duke,
that is amazing. Coach K leaves, I think, they're not going to be good. Still good.
And do they have a football team? That's one of those funny. It's one of those.
They're actually pretty good, but nobody on campus cares. Bill Madden actually lived down there and said it's a basketball state.
Yeah,
Most
it's like UConn.
Yeah,
I guess they have a football team, but you don't hear much.
Yeah, they don't hear about them. They're good every year too, men's and women's. My God, that's a factory.
Yeah, it's amazing. Kentucky, places like that.
Yes, that's Indiana. Even though they're great at football now, that's still a basketball school, really.
They certainly are a football school now.
Right.
I really thought Ohio State was going to go all the way this year, and that was surprising.
Football?
Yeah.
Back to back they would have gone, and Indiana had a great team. That quarterback's going 1 overall.
Penn State was predicted to be they thought for sure it was going to be Penn State and Ohio State in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, that'll not end well. Quarterback gets hurt, then the coach gets fired. It's a season from HELL.
What was so bizarre about that is that James Franklin would going off the field, and you and I have talked about this before, and there'd be some student hanging over the railing yelling at him, and he'd get in an argument with him.
He's heckling. He's one of the richest people in Pennsylvania, richest person on that campus, a grown man heckling a 19-year-old biology major. Have some self-control, Coach Franklin. And then not being able to win any big game, and then when you lose to UCLA, who's a bad football
that was
team.
unbelievable.
And I know you won cross country, and it's hard, but you got to win that game.
And they were favored by like 24 points.
Right. They were embarrassed by Oregon. Okay. They lost to Indiana. Okay. They're a great team. You can't lose to UCLA, who's an awful football program.
At this point, and I'm not exact. I think they were favored by over 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and they lost.
And they got crushed.
They did.
You
can't recover from that. I don't care. The quarterback was hurt.
That was truly bizarre that happened. And then
Matt Campbell, I think he's a good coach. He resurrected Iowa State.
And Penn State isn't the type to fire people mid-season.
No, neither are the Steelers.
Yeah,
and they didn't.
That just doesn't happen.
That guy left on his own.
Yeah, and now Franklin's what, Virginia?
Virginia Tech. Yes, Blacksburg.
Virginia Tech.
Yes.
That saved Penn State a lot of money.
Yes,
people say, "Oh, they're going to have to pay him anyways." Penn State football program has more money than God.
Yes, they're renovating Beaver Stadium every year. It seems
they're spending hundreds of millions, and people say, "Oh, they're shutting down campuses." I'm like, "Well, unfortunately, it's just 2 pools of money."
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a good look, frankly.
No, it's not a good. You can't take football money and
I love football. Everyone does, but it's not a great look. But it is what it is,
and it's a real problem. And we feel bad. We should report more often on the scores of the Penn State basketball teams over there.
Yes, we used to do all their games, and I don't want to.
But we could report on the scores.
Yeah.
We'll do that from now on the afternoon drive show.
Yeah,
because they have. I'm sure they're having trouble right now. I don't know how it's working. We should have the chancellor back on, but they've got 1 year left.
Yeah, they're winding down.
They're not starting this semester. We're currently in. They stopped taking, I guess, freshmen.
They did. It's a great campus, beautiful facilities. It hosted a national tournament for years. That was a great tournament. So much fun,
and it was a big economic boost for this region to have all those and people come in. They're not familiar with the area and be able to see it. And they played in it every year, of course.
Right, beautiful campus. Yeah, the people out there are wonderful.
Yeah, that was terrible news for the region, but obviously they want to be able to use that facility for something.
And it wasn't the only campus, sadly. I mean, if it was just Fayette, they singled out, that'd be worse. But other campuses,
I think there were 6 in all around the state.
New Kensington also local.
New Kensington's closing, and I forget the other one here, Shenango.
Yeah, maybe Shenango. Yeah,
and now you have one chancellor that oversees those. I guess it's New Kensington, and I always call it Penn State Fayette or Penn State McKeesport, but Penn State Greater Allegheny. And so there's one, and we've had her on the air, talking about that. Coming up here in just a few moments, we're going to we talked more legal ease a moment ago with former Congresswoman Melissa Hart. The bizarre story of Governor Josh Shapiro and his neighbor at his private home in Montgomery County suing each other. This is not just a case where there's somebody upset with a governor. They're suing each other over a land dispute. Very strange situation. But we thought we'd talk more politics. And in fact, he's been on the air here so much over the years.
He's on more than we are, yeah.
We really should invite him to the Christmas party.
That's right. We'll have
or
a
be at the
pork
staff
sandwich
meetings
for him. Yeah,
that's right. It's like we said over the years, the Pirate announcers or Steelers announcers, Penguin announcers, they're on air more than any of us.
Constantly.
So maybe we'll invite our next guest, since he's on here on the course Lincoln
then
Radio
he'd have to
Journal.
Go to all the stations, and he's on hundreds of stations, so that's a lot of Christmas parties.
American Radio Journal. But joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital talk line, our good friend, of course, from the Lincoln Institute, Public Opinion Research, Loman Henry. Loman, thanks for joining us today. We enjoy your shows. You're on here all the time. I have to admit, once in a while I don't hear it live, but I go to your website and listen to it there. It's not always easy to get even if it's a weekly show, to get guests on. I know what it's like. It takes a lot of work, doesn't it?
It takes a lot of work. Hey, always good to be with you, Doug, and certainly appreciate WMBS airing our program, both of them for many, many years. So I really appreciated having the stations continue to let us talk to the people of southwestern Pennsylvania, but also, I imagine, West Virginia, Maryland, and elsewhere.
Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting, too. People say, how do you get guests, Doug? I'm like, well, it's really the only profession where you can absolute plagiarize somebody else, and you can't get in trouble for it. So, yeah, my show prep is Loman shows. I get ideas from there, maybe vice versa. I had a guy on yesterday who he's interviewed me on TV and radio. I've interviewed him here. So, yeah, those things tend to happen. But we wanted to talk to you about politics. And we just had an interview during the last hour with former Congresswoman Melissa Hart. And we talked more legal issues than political issues. In fact, almost the entire interview was about this bizarre story. And I know I didn't mention this to you ahead of time, and I should have done that. I violated a rule there on radio interviews. This bizarre story of Governor Josh Shapiro and his neighbor suing each other over a strip of land between their homes, his private home in Montgomery County. I was talking to a law professor today who is a former federal prosecutor. He knows his stuff. He said, let me tell you, that is one for the books, that a sitting governor is having a legal dispute over land that he owns privately. It's truly, is it bigger than just that? Is it a way just Shapiro just does things my way or the highway? It's a very odd story, is it not?
Well, it is how Governor Shapiro does things. And the larger issue there, Doug, is that taxpayers are spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on upgrades to his property, fences and trees and all sorts of things, which are being framed as security enhancements. But this is his private residence. We taxpayers have a governor's residence in Harrisburg where we are legitimately spending millions of dollars in upgrades because there was an attack on the governor's life. The residence was firebombed. It is entirely appropriate that we're doing all the security enhancements to the taxpayer-owned residence in Harrisburg. But spending that amount of money on his private residence with no transparency as to whether it was bid or whether it was necessary, what studies were done, and now we have this bizarre thing, as you pointed out, where he wants this land supposedly for security purposes, and his security team not allowing his neighbors to go on property that by deed they own. So now apparently they're suing each other, and it's an unseemly mess for a sitting governor to get in, particularly in his reelection year.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if this was the next door neighbor who didn't agree with his politics. Okay, I'm just going to sue him over a fence dispute. They're suing each other, so it's not.
Yeah, they're suing each other.
Yeah, this is not. It's not. He's just not a defendant in this case. Yeah, it's. I mean, I would have no problem with the state spending money to secure his private home if the state did not provide a home for him. They have a home. It's a very nice home. I've been in it. You've been in it, I'm sure, over the years.
Yeah.
So there is a home provided for the governor, and for whatever reason, over the years, he's decided not to live there full time. Governor Wolf apparently rarely lived there. Rendell went home a lot to his home in Philly. But they're providing a home for the governor, and it should be secure. That was a disaster that somebody managed to get inside his home while he and his family were there and set it on fire. That was unbelievable how poorly that was defended. But yeah, that's a little strange, beyond a little strange. It's a story, and then when you have a law professor I talked to who's going to be on the air with us next week to talk about it, and he's a former federal prosecutor, he's seen it all, and you say, wow, that's a strange
one. When it comes to Josh Shapiro, we see a lot of things that you really shouldn't see. For example, of course, last week he gave his budget address, and we had a situation where this past year a budget was passed that spent $3 billion, almost $4 billion more than we took in. They drained all the surplus accounts to pay for it. And now he comes back and he wants an additional $3 billion in spending. The plan being to take the money out of the rainy day fund, which is there for providing funds for the Commonwealth if there's an economic downturn, which is not happening. So you look at this and go, where does it end?
Well, and what's interesting, even during pandemic, which is unprecedented in our lifetimes, certainly in the last 100 years since the Spanish flu, the rainy day fund wasn't even used then.
No.
And it's really for if you have some sort of catastrophic economic problem, and then you could use that. And that's why it's there. It sounds like a lot of money, billions of dollars, but it literally provides funding for the state for like 60 days. So it's not as if it's It's not as if you're sitting on it. Yeah, it sounds like it is a lot of money, billions of dollars, but when you compare it to the full price, and I was saying one day when I first came to Harrisburg as a staffer many years ago, I think the state budget was $12 billion. Now it's $50 billion. I don't even know if it was that high, $12 billion back then. But yeah,
as recently as when Governor Corbett left office, we were only at about $30 billion.
Yeah.
Wow. Now we're going to be, if this passes, we're going to be at almost $55 billion. And, the rainy day fund, Doug, once it's spent this year, this coming fiscal year, if this level of spending is approved, there's enough money there to cover that deficit spending for 2 years. After that, the rainy day fund is gone. The surplus is gone. Yeah. The spending, though, is built in. Yeah. So what happens?
It's a strange situation, and the one thing I find puzzling, and whether people support legalization of medical marijuana or not, and that's not the issue as much as the amount of taxes they say they're going to get from it. Well, imagine how long it's going to take to implement that. If it's passed tomorrow into law that you can start selling legal recreational marijuana, imagine the ramp-up period it's going to take to implement that legislation. This is not it'll become effective in 30 days, which is on a lot of pieces of legislation. This is not the case. And then for the taxes to start flowing in, and they said last year in this budget that it was unreasonable to think how many taxes were going to come in from legalized marijuana or games of skill games. It's going to take a while to get those up and running. It's not going to. You can't pass the legislation and start bringing in the taxes the very next day.
Yep, his proposed budget, with as much of a deficit as there already is, like you're pointing out, it's depending also on two non-existent sources of revenue. And my belief is you're not going to see legalized recreational marijuana this fiscal year, if ever, in Pennsylvania. We may get to a point where the legislature comes up with some sort of a reasonable tax on the skill games. A 56% tax, which has been proposed, is ridiculous. But they might be able to come up with some more reasonable level of taxation. But you're correct. Even if they pass that, it's going to take months to pass it, months to stand it up. That revenue is not going to be there this fiscal year.
Yeah.
So it just makes the deficit worse.
Yeah, that's the head scratcher of all head scratchers, frankly. So, and the legislature at this point, which is full time, we'll put that in quotes, is one of the largest in the country. There's some of the highest paid legislators in the country. The House is controlled 102 to 101 Democrat. The Senate has been in Republican control for decades, except for a couple of years, many years ago, when it was in Democratic control. But a year and a half, I think it was back in those days. Didn't last very long. And of course, you have the governor as a Democrat. So we have a split legislature, and they're not getting a lot passed because they just can't come to agreements. And when it comes to beyond the budget, just basic legislation. So let's move from legislative talk to political talk. It is a gubernatorial election year. 4 years ago, we told this story time and time again. I think it's worth repeating because it gave you some idea of how many Republicans were running in the primary. Chris Nicholas, who political consultant, was putting together a debate at a college, and they could not find enough matching podiums. And I've told that story multiple times, but it gives you an idea of how many people were running. This time around could not be any different. If there's going to be another Republican candidate running, I'd be surprised. But Stacey Garrity, almost unprecedented, you have more understanding of this than I do, got the endorsement by the Republican Committee of Pennsylvania last fall. I don't ever recall that happening.
Well, what we did is, the party learned a lesson. We ended up with finally 9 candidates on the ballot 4 years ago. Rewind the tape about 2 years ago, Doug, when we had the U.S. Senate seat up of Robert Casey Jr., and the Republican State Party did, the October before, in 2023 it would have been, do an early endorsement of Dave McCormick, which gave him the ability to go out and raise money nationally as the party pick. We avoided a primary battle there. You may recall 2 years earlier, McCormick and Mehmet Oz and others had fought it out. This time, the last time around, McCormick endorsed early, only candidate. goes on, everything goes right, and he pulls off the upset of the decade in Pennsylvania. I think if you would have asked anybody in 2023, do you think Robert P. Casey Jr. can be beat next year? Everybody would have said no. And if you told them that he could win, they would have thought you were smoking some of that non-legalized marijuana we were talking about. Yeah. But again, you come up to this year, we're repeating the same strategy that we used with Dave McCormick. An early endorsement of Stacey Garrity, a solid pick this past weekend of Jason Ritchie to be her running mate for lieutenant governor. So what we have happening is Stacey Garrity is being given every advantage heading into the election year. And I'm one of the people who happens to believe that Josh Shapiro's support is a mile wide and an inch deep. He's never really faced a tough statewide election. 4 years ago, Doug Mastriano, loved Doug and the things that he does legislatively, but, he didn't really run a campaign. When Shapiro ran for re-election as Attorney General, the Republican candidate, she was an unknown person, had no money, gave him no real run for his money. He's never been seriously challenged, Doug. Yeah. That is going to change this year. And what we have seen is that when anybody challenges him, he gets rattled and loses his temper, as witnessed by an article that was published by, I believe it was Atlantic Magazine a couple of months back. So Shapiro is going to have something he's never had before. A Republican candidate, and you can see national Republican money is going to come into this race. Shapiro may have a big fundraising lead now. National Republican money is going to come in the race because Republicans nationwide are going to want to take him out from the governor's race so he's not a viable presidential or vice presidential candidate next year. And, of course, that's all Shapiro cares about is running for the White House next year. This governor's race this year he views as a step along the way. I think Stacey Garrity has some other ideas.
Yeah. It's interesting you talked about the last governor's race, Doug Mastriano. The only thing I disagree with, you said he didn't run a campaign. I thought the problem was he ran a primary campaign right up to November. At some point, you got to exercise muscles you're not used to using. You've got to go give speeches to people who may not really like you all that much. He just seemed to run a primary campaign right up until the general election. And you can't win in Pennsylvania, especially even 4 years ago when the voter registration was so different. And that was the next point I wanted to ask you about. Again, you know this stuff more than I know, and I did some research on it. To think about during the Obama era, when Pennsylvanians had 1.1 million more Democrats registered than Republicans, it's basically an even split now. What's it down to 40,000, something like that? But to have that big of a switch. I don't ever recall that happening in any state of our size, at least, to have that big of a change in less than a generation. It's pretty strange, isn't it?
It has been a remarkable change, and nowhere more so than where you are in southwestern Pennsylvania. You and I have been around long enough to remember when Democrats had a 2.5, 3-1 lead in Westmoreland, Fayette, Greene counties, Washington County. They were all solidly Democrat.
Right.
No question about it. They were going to turn in big Democrat numbers. Now the opposite is true. They're solidly Republican, turning out Republican numbers, and I think Stacey Garrity is going to benefit from that because Josh Shapiro is running with a pool of electors, a pool of voters that is substantially smaller for him than what it was 4 years ago. And I do like to remind people, 2 years ago, Stacey Garrity, running for re-election as state treasurer, received the highest number of votes of any statewide candidate in Pennsylvania ever, including Josh Shapiro when he ran against Mastriano.
Right.
So
and Wagner,
Republicans really have a proven candidate.
Yeah, it's and she's available. Here we are. She comes on our radio show regularly here and is available. And she's basically got two jobs now. She's being treasurer and she's running for governor. And they're very careful. They're very, very careful about those sorts of things. And I've called to get interviews on something. They said, you need to call the other office. They're very cautious about that, knowing what questions might be asked, that sort of thing. So, it's an interesting one to say the least. As you mentioned, we just had on last week, just a few days before he was endorsed for the lieutenant governor slot, and a name that people wouldn't know at this point. And it wasn't something he said it was sort of shocking when people started asking me about whether I wanted to run for lieutenant governor. But he got the endorsement, and he was available immediately for an interview even before that endorsement, and he's smooth. I think they'll campaign well together. He's of course, Chairman Jason Ritchie, Chairman of the Allegheny County Republican Committee. The county in Pennsylvania has more Republicans registered than any county across the state, including Philadelphia, which is a much larger county/city. But you talked about the changes in this region, and when you think Bill Lincoln, who was, of course, the senator from this area at one point, state Democratic chair. God rest his soul, he must be rolling over right now thinking, good grief, what has happened to Fayette County? And to make this huge change. At one point, several years back, there were three Democratic commissioners in Fayette County. How did that happen? Well, a former commissioner ran as an independent and switched his party. You had 3 Democrats on the commission in Fayette County. A rare thing. Obviously, that's the big race next year. You don't have a Senate race, U.S. Senate race next year. You don't have no other statewide offices running next year. So the focus will be on that campaign in not next year, this year, in 2026.
This year, yeah.
And that's the rare time that there's no U.S. Senate race running concurrently. So all the focus is going to be on that race, correct?
All the focus will be on the race for governor. Right. And, of course, legislative races are going to be much more expensive and much harder fought because the Democrats were successful in gerrymandering the legislative district maps to their significant advantage. So there are relatively few competitive state house districts in the state. Those districts are going to see millions of dollars spent on state house seats. So it's going to really be a state-focused election year. But even though we're focused on state races here, Doug, the big issue for Pennsylvania is going to be the national trend. And really, I think what it's going to come down to is if the economy is doing well when we hit September, October, into Election Day in November, if the economy is thriving, if it's doing well, and people feel it, then I think we have a situation where we'll have a Republican wave election year. But the key here is people have to feel it. If you look at all the economic numbers that are coming out, the jobs numbers that came out today, much better than expected. GDP ended up fourth quarter much higher than expected. Stock market over 50,000. All the metrics are there, but yet people are still not quite feeling it at the kitchen table. So we have a couple of months that this booming economy is going to have to sink in so that people see it whenever they're writing out their monthly bills. They're seeing more money in their paychecks. We've got inflation under control. We've got to make it felt at that kitchen table, and we haven't yet, Doug. So there's the challenge for Republicans. If we can do that, we'll have a good year. If we can't, it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, I know registration's open for the 2026 PA Leadership Conference. That's not until April, and we will have you back on before then to talk about it. But take a moment, if you would, as we wrap up, to tell us about the Lincoln Institute and the upcoming conference in April.
Yeah, the Pennsylvania Leadership Conference, Doug. Folks who've listened to your show and listened to my shows know it's the biggest conservative event of the year, sort of our version of CPAC in Pennsylvania. It's April 9th, 10th, and 11th at the Penn Harris in Camp Hill, right outside of Harrisburg. And we have as our featured dinner speaker this year, Chris Ruddy. And Chris is the founder and CEO of the Newsmax Cable Network. And what makes this interesting, do you know where Chris Ruddy got his start?
The Tribune Review. correct?
You're correct.
Yeah.
Tribune Review in Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So we're going to have Chris Ruddy. We have Joe Concha from Fox News. Of course, every one of our statewide elected officials, Senator McCormick, all of our statewide row offices, certainly Stacey Garrity, they're all going to be speaking. We have an expanded menu of workshops, all sorts of things. And the website is paleadershipconference.org. And it is 2 months away, but I would urge your listeners to go to paleadershipconference.org, and they can check out there. And I'll tell you what, folks get 3 days of a conference, including a banquet, a breakfast, a luncheon, and everything else for $140. Can't beat it.
No, you can't. I've been to conferences over the years that you could add another zero to the end of that. That's what those cost. Lohman, thanks so much. We appreciate you joining us. We like our occasional conversation with you, and we'll be back in touch before the conference, that's for sure.
Thanks, Doug. Always appreciate the opportunity. Take care.
Thank you. A longer than expected interview there with Lohman. I thought it went well. So we're running a little late on the show. Coming up next, Rob Owen. We're really going to change topics here. We're going to talk about the economic impact of the Olympics and the impact on television. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Looking to update your home? Koval Building Supply at 40 Monroe Avenue in Uniontown is more than your plumbing supply store. We specialize in kitchen and bathroom remodels that transform your space from outdated to outstanding. Our designers work with you to create the look you've always wanted with custom cabinetry, countertops, and flooring options to fit your style and budget. Call Koval today at 724-437-8824 or visit kovalsupply.com to plan your dream kitchen or bath. Koval Building Supply, everything you need to make your house feel like home.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Now, you don't have to travel too far for medical marijuana products. Go to Local Leaf in Scottdale for a wide variety of locally grown and locally sourced products, plus your questions answered on medical marijuana, qualifying medical conditions, or how to register for your medical card. Local Leaf by PHG off Route 119 in Scottdale, 412-417-4964. Online at localleafpa.com. Local Leaf, your medical marijuana dispensary with locally grown and locally sourced products in Scottdale.
That's the group Yes, bring us out of the break. Roundabout, which was the song that went highest ever on the Billboard charts. Actually, that's one of the rare Yes songs that you have a lyric within the first minute. Usually, it goes about 8 minutes before you have a lyric in a Yes song.
Very true.
Nick, one of our favorite bands. I've seen them multiple times. Various variations of that band too. They kind of split up. They do their own thing. They come back together. At one point, there were basically two Yes bands running around the nation. I think the last time I saw them was about a year ago. I saw them over at the Palace Theater.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Greensburg. Great facility, yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice theater there. I want to thank Lohman Henry for joining us. And joining us, as I mentioned in the tease, right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line from the Tribune Review newspaper, soon to be this region's largest only paper for the city of Pittsburgh, and, of course, TribLive.com television TV writer and critic Rob Owen. Rob, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. As always, we thank you for watching TV so the rest of us don't have to. But I wanted to talk to you about not the Olympics broadcast per se, and it's on quite a bit these days, of course, on NBC and Peacock, USA, CNBC.
Sorry, fans of St. Denis Medical. You'll have to wait till next month.
Next week. But that's what I wanted to talk about, the economic impact of the Olympics on NBC television as a whole. They put their a lot of their daytime, their evening schedules on hold. It's all night long, the repeats. but also the impact on local affiliates who aren't able to do their news at the normal times they usually do. They're not running 12 hours of local news.
Thank God.
Thank God. So it does have an impact. And Nick and I always joke, too, about Seinfeld. And it really was Seinfeld's success at one point and the money it brought in for the network that allowed them to go with the Olympics for so many years, right? I mean, that was a huge impact.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know specifically. That's a little bit before I was paying super close attention. But certainly, NBC having the heyday they did with shows like Seinfeld back then did allow them to get into this sort of business, I'm sure, at least helped make it possible. I think that NBC loves the Olympics. I mean, yes, it wreaks havoc with the schedules. Yes, it means your daytime stories may not be there for a couple of weeks. But, it's programming that still gathers viewers. We saw that the opening ceremonies improved on the opening ceremonies from the Winter Olympics 4 years ago, and it works as a promotional platform. I'm sure if anyone's watching the Olympics, they're seeing ads for the Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins, the new Tracy Morgan sitcom that has its real premiere on February 23rd.
Yeah, I've only seen that promo 14 times in the last 2 days.
I've seen it 24 times.
Yeah, it's yeah.
And I used to like Tracy Morgan.
Yeah, no,
yeah. Now I'm dreading the 23rd.
And St. Dennis.
That is a good show, I must admit. That is funny.
But I see a lot of promos for that as well.
Enough already, yeah. And all their other sports. Now NBC has Sunday Night Basketball now that football's over, baseball. So NBC's having a moment here. They just said the Super Bowl. Tirico just got off a 20-hour flight. So,
right.
Right.
So it does have an impact, but obviously NBC wouldn't be doing this if they're not making money.
Right. I think they see it both as a moneymaker and as an opportunity to promote shows that, that are coming up. But, sports doesn't always work out. I mean, the NBA is not doing great in the ratings on NBC currently.
No.
Is it overall cheaper than to program scripted shows? Maybe, but maybe not. I don't know. They paid a lot of money for those NBA rights, and, the ratings have not been impressive.
Yeah, no, NBA's been struggling. Not like NASCAR, which is really good, and the tanker.
Well, really, football is the only thing that is drawing a rating of any kind, even the scripted shows.
Yeah,
football is the only thing that's
every
getting
year,
a rating.
Sunday Night Football seems to have the highest ratings of anything on
God.
TV.
Right. The NFL is the number one thing that does the most for all of the networks. That's 100% accurate.
It's interesting. I was watching news on a non-NBC affiliate the other day, and they said, if you're not used to watching us because you've been watching the Olympics, welcome to blah, 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 blah. It's KDKA. I'll say it. KDKA TV. So they're actually saying that you might be tuning into us, and you don't usually do it, so welcome. So I guess they're taking advantage of something like that.
Yeah, why not?
But again, the impact, I guess, I haven't seen the Tracy Morgan show, but I feel like I have because there's been so many, even though it hasn't aired yet officially, but you've been so many promotions for it. But yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that end of it, that it's one big commercial.
Right, it is. It is a commercial for what's coming next on the network. And, just as the Super Bowl is also a commercial for what's coming on next on the network. Now, the big change there is that networks used to put a new show. They used to premiere new shows after the Super Bowl. They're not doing that so much anymore. They're much more likely to put a returning show that has some popularity and trying to give it a boost after the Super Bowl. Or this year, NBC just put more Olympics after the Super Bowl. So it's all changing a little bit.
Yeah. This idea of now it's every 2 years, which started, I forget how it was, 20 years ago when the Olympics used to be winter and summer Olympics in the same year.
Right.
Now it's every 2 years. So, the towards the end of this Olympic run, they'll start advertising. They'll start saying, "Hey, the Winter Olympics coming up," and or the Summer Olympics rather are coming up, and which at that point would be, I guess, about 2.5 years away, or a little less than that. And then, of course, those ads will go away for a while, but they certainly will be advertising the Summer Olympics, which are in L.A., and which is a big difference, of course, because almost everything then in prime time can be live, correct?
Right. Whenever it's in the North America, it certainly helps with getting stuff on live. You still have a 3-hour difference, but that is much easier to surmount than the 6-8 hour time difference, depending on where the Olympics are happening elsewhere in the globe. So yes, for NBC's sake, it works out better when the games are at home.
And talking with Rob Owen here, Nick Barczyk, Doug Saltzman. Rob, the proliferation, you like that word, Doug, of
Good
these
word.
streaming networks. Will we ever get to a point where, I mean, Peacock is NBC's streaming network. Will we ever get to a point where the Olympics are just on Peacock, or the Super Bowl, or the sports and even the scripted shows? Will there always be a place for the networks, or will these streamers ever take over entirely, do you think?
Oh, gosh. It's hard to make predictions because everything's moving and changing so fast.
We're going to hold you to whatever the prediction is.
Right.
We're going to write it in stone,
Exactly.
At this point, I think it is unlikely. I think as long as a broadcast network is part of a media company, then it's going to make sense to go for these rights, these sports rights, and then spread them out across your linear channel, your cable channel, and your streaming service. Now, if they decide to dump a broadcast network, then the calculus becomes different, and then my answer would be different. But as things stand today, as long as the big media companies hold on to their broadcast networks, I think the Super Bowl will remain on broadcast. I think the Olympics will remain, at least in part, on broadcast, while also being spread out over, cable and streaming.
Right. As I've said during our interviews with you before, I haven't had cable in years. I just got tired of the price. And so I guess I even forgot something like USA Network existed.
Yeah, still around. March Madness.
I guess I remembered CNBC. And of course, those are the other two networks of NBC and Comcast, I guess.
Well, except now they're spun off as Versant, so go figure.
Oh, I guess there we go. That's why we have this guy on.
That's why he's the expert.
Exactly.
He's watching it so we don't have to, Doug.
Exactly.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, it's the idea of the Olympics. I'm back in the days of Jim McKay doing it on ABC, and I can't remember the last time NBC did not have the Olympics. Are we talking pre-70s, 80s?
Yeah,
I don't know
Costas
when.
did it for 20 years at Torrico.
But the idea too of this happening, and of course one of the co-hosts of the opening ceremonies was supposed to be Savannah Guthrie, and that's an interesting story too. And we've talked to other folks about that the fact that a network has no choice but to report on something that's happening to one of their own network employees' families. And they're in a tough spot. They've been opening the Today Show every day with an update. If they didn't do that, they'd look like they were uncaring of one of their own employees.
Right.
If they do it, they look like it's biased reporting about one of their own. There's really it's a no-win situation in something like this of how they handle the reporting of one of their own.
Yeah, I mean, they have a very narrow needle to thread there. And, by all accounts, from what I've been reading, it sounds like they've done a fairly good job of that they, are acknowledging what's going on with one of their own, but then they're also moving on and talking about other news and not focusing it exclusively on that. But yes, that is definitely a hard thing for them to do. And I am sure it is a difficult thing for those in the studio. Who all know the host, who know her mom because she's been on the show a lot of times. So, yeah, it can't be an easy situation. As far as you're asking about NBC and the Olympics, they have been the exclusive U.S. home of summer games since 1988 and winter games since 2002.
Oh, okay. I thought it went back further. Nick, you had another question?
No, we just had the Super Bowl, and this is doing with TV. I saw you wrote about the Super Bowl ads. We have to talk about that. Just your general view of them, the use of celebrities, their impact, the ads leading into the Olympics. Just what you thought of the ads overall at the Super Bowl.
If I understood what they were selling, I certainly enjoyed them more than if I didn't, which was unfortunately much of the time, especially with the AI ads. There were some where it's just like, what are you trying to sell me? What is it I'm supposed to get out of this? But some of them were clear, but not a lot of them. I think the use of celebrities is best when it is done sort of tongue-in-cheek. So therefore, my favorite ad was the Duncan ad that sort of parodied 90s NBC sitcoms that had all these stars in it: Jason Alexander, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Aniston. It was Ted Danson.
Yeah,
it was
Ted Danson. They made him look young. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. It
was awesome.
But back to the earlier topic, when NBC has had to deal with stuff like this, Matt Lauer getting fired, and they had a report on one of their own getting fired. CBS back in the day, the controversy surrounding the reports about George Bush and his time in the Texas National Guard. CBS, Dan Rather, finally, they had to admit, these were not we never authenticated these documents that we based the entire story on. So it has come up that television has had to report on their own networks, and not always in good stories. So it's interesting to see how they handle that.
Yeah, it is. I think this is a particularly difficult case because, in some of those ones you described, like the Matt Lauer thing, obviously there was some shady stuff going on there, and it was kind of a single emotion, and it was one of let's report this and get away from it as fast as we can. Whereas the stuff that's going on with Savannah's mom now is just kind of grueling and heartbreaking because there's been no change in it, and it goes on every day. So I have to think that in a lot of ways, this is more difficult than anything that a national newscast has had to sort of self-report on in the past.
Yeah, and it's not just NBC. It's not just the Rather story. Charlie Rose was fired from CBS for absurd, inappropriate behavior.
But again, those are like one-day stories. This is ongoing.
Yeah, and it's a very sad thing, and I can't imagine a family dealing with something like this. And it just doesn't seem to. Well, I don't know how the ending's going to be. Let's hope it's for the best, but man, it's not looking good, sadly, given all that. We're joined by Rob Owen and his dog in the background here on the Afternoon Drive Show. It's always okay when we hear a dog barking.
It only enhances the interview.
It does. It makes for live radio.
Better than us talking.
That's the better part of it. Hey, Rob, thanks so much. We enjoy our conversations with you occasionally. And we thought we'd check in on a unique aspect.
There's the Olympic music. Why not?
There's the Olympic music. Don't play it too long. We're probably violating something.
We are Olympic updates, so we can air it.
Okay, we can air that. Rob, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Rob.
Did we lose Rob?
We did lose Rob.
I mentioned his dog, and he hung up on us.
Maybe he just lost interest.
All right.
That happens.
Let's take a break. We're going to wrap it up.
Or maybe the dog would knock the phone out of his hand. You never
know
know
what happened. I'll check on him to make sure he's okay. Stick around. We'll be back.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturdays 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Rags a call today, 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
Be prepared for bone-chilling winter weather. Have Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning install a Bryant high-efficiency furnace in your home to replace that old worn-out system you now have. Choose Bryant's Plus 90 gas furnace or other quality heating system to keep yourself and your family warm and toasty this winter. Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning will also keep your present furnace running at peak efficiency with their 15-point safety check and cleaning. Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning today for your appointment. 724-439-2323. That's Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, Route 119 north of Uniontown, located near Laurel Mall.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323.
Hello, Uniontown and Fayette County. This is attorney Erica Dowd of Quattrini Law Group. Are you a veteran suffering from a service-related disability or disease? Not all injuries are obvious or happen quickly. We've helped hundreds of veterans with conditions like PTSD, neuropathy, heart conditions, and cancers get the benefits they deserve, even when their conditions didn't start until many years after service. VA benefits can be paid for any condition that could have been caused or worsened by your service, from Agent Orange exposure, Camp Lejeune water exposure, burn pits, or physical injuries in the service. If you were disabled from your military service, we can help you. The consultation is free and no obligation. Call us today at 1-888-534-6016 or Google Quattrini Law Group. Again, this is attorney Erica Dowd from Quattrini Law Group, reaching out to veterans like you.
That sneeze was in a different zip code, and I still felt the germs.
Relax, Randy. I went to Montgomery Medical. I'm fully shielded.
Like a flu shot?
Flu, COVID, the works. If you haven't caught up on your shots yet, they'll get you sorted in minutes. It's basically a suit of armor, but with less clanking. Then do the double shot. After Montgomery Medical, head over to Renew You MediSpa. I got their immunity IV drip.
A MediSpa?
You relax, you hydrate, and you give your immune system a VIP upgrade.
Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine.
The 1908 bar and restaurant at the Uniontown Country Club will be closed for the winter, but they can't wait to welcome you back in the spring. So stay up to date on special events by visiting their Facebook page at facebook.com/UniontownCC. The Uniontown Country Club thanks you for your support in 2025, and they look forward to an amazing 2026. And here's some good news if you're a golfer. The golf course will remain open this winter. Weather permitting, of course. So if you're in the mood to golf this winter, call 724-550-4258 for current course conditions, or to learn more about 2026 Uniontown Country Club memberships. Happy New Year from the 1908 Bar and Restaurant and the Uniontown Country Club. They jointly send you the warmest wishes for a wonderful 2026. And they look forward to seeing you again real soon.
WMBS.
Baker Street by James Rafferty?
Jerry Rafferty.
Jerry Rafferty.
Jerry with the G, and what a song. What a record.
Yeah, that's a great song. No lyrics. That came out in like the 80s.
There's lyrics.
Oh,
they're coming up.
Oh, yeah,
here.
what am I thinking? Yeah, there's lyrics.
It's all right, though.
Came out in the 80s.
But everyone remembers that opening,
right?
right?
That in college.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, that's a cool song. It's half rock and roll, half I don't know, jazz. I don't know what to call it. It's not smooth jazz, which of course nobody likes.
Well, I just defended the jazz community.
Yeah,
they're outraged. They're doing jazz hands.
That's right. So I did call Rob Owen. He disappeared at the end of the interview. He said he put the phone on mute to get his dog quiet. Then he forgot to take it off mute. But we
should have told him before. Hey, that could only enhance the interview, especially with me talking.
Yeah, what do we care if a dog's barking in the background?
We were talking about TV. We weren't talking about Congress. Wasn't that important? But
we did check to make sure, like he wasn't attacked by the dog we heard barking or something,
or he just lost interest in us. And that happens.
Said, oh, the heck with him. He mentioned the dog. I'm hanging up on.
Yeah.
CBS News is next at 8:00. That's a wrap for the afternoon drive show for a Wednesday. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Nick Barczyk. You can always re-listen to the show on our Facebook page later if you're dying to hear some of the interviews again. No sports tonight. High school basketball tomorrow night. Preliminary rounds of high school basketball playoffs on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug. That's Nick. Thanks for listening. Have a good night.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn. We begin in Tucson, Arizona, where the search for Nancy Guthrie has intensified 11 days after she went missing. CBS's Andres Gutierrez tells us authorities are getting a lot of tips.
The Sheriff's Department late this afternoon said that they have received nearly 18,000 calls since Nancy was last seen on February 1st. More than 4,000 of those calls came in the last 24 hours.